So this is warm-up for the second round of the Automobilista Supercars Championship. Currently we've got Kurt Stenberg and Colin Warwick starting in first and second.
And we have got Sean Allen just edging out Zach Baker in the second row. Lachlan Burke in fifth, Brody Steen in sixth, Alex Cattle seventh, David Nedich eighth, Benjamin D'Alia in ninth, and RSM Latino rounding out the top 10. And as we predicted, Jake Maloney jumping in at the end of qualifying, so he will be starting at the back of the grid along with Luke Rosella. Luke Rosella, what happened to him? Did he bail?
Doesn't look like he set a time there, because he would definitely not be in 19th if he didn't have if he'd actually set a representative time. So maybe he got caught up with the traffic coming out of there.
Maybe it was a pretty hasty qualifying session, only the 5 minutes. So I wonder if that was an error or if that was intended. I probably wouldn't mind 5-minute qualifying sessions in future. It sort of it definitely puts the wind up you in terms of get out there, set a time, and made some interesting viewing. Although the people that we expected to see at the top did rise to the top in the end, so but it makes it a little bit more exciting as viewers.
So the timer hit 0 on the warm-up session, so we're not too far away from getting underway for the first race tonight.
Yes, indeed. Go A Sykes, says Oxidane. And yes, indeed, go A Sykes.
So there's a calm over this great racetrack as we wait.
Those flags are pretty stiff.
Well, just like me in anticipation of this race.
Oh, mate, I am absolutely tumescent with anticipation.
Good usage of the words there, Matt.
I'm not sure that's even a word. This is the racetrack of Sandown Raceway. 1, 2, 3, and 4 is how the corners go. Then there's a little bit of a break, and then you got turn 5. Long back bit. And then into the quick S's of turn 6, turn 7, turn 8, and then right-hander of turn 9 on towards the last sector of the racetrack, turn 10, which again isn't really a turn if I'm going to start beating that horse again. Turn 11 and turn 12. Turn 13 leads you onto the back straight where you, the front straight where you go straight on down towards turn 1 once again.
Alright, here's our first view of the grid in anticipation of the start of this race, and I reckon it's going to be an absolute cracker. We're just waiting for them, I should say, to get off the line, and very shortly we'll be able to go through the grid.
I'm hyped. So we've got 18 laps here for race 1 around Sandown. Kurt Stenberg and Colin Warwick leading us on.
Mabber, do you want to take us through the grid?
Absolutely. So Kurt Stenberg, after a dominant last round, except for the very last lap of the second race, comes out on top during qualifying. He starts out from first with Colin Warwick, fellow admin, in second. Sean Allen just edges out Teams Championship antagonist Zach Baker in the second row, with Zach Baker coming home in fourth during qualifying. In fifth place, we have got Lachlan Burke with a decent showing in qualifying. Brody Steen, the other Race on Oz driver, coming in sixth. Alex Cattle in the Race on Oz sister team in seventh, with David Nedich in eighth, who will be hoping for a better race than the second one at Bathurst, where he flipped over a fence, not due to his own issues, and was unable to continue the race. So hopefully a better weekend for him. Benjamin D'Alia in ninth, with RSM Latino rounding out the top 10 for qualifying, with Kavinder Singh having a bit of a messy qualifying session but still managing to get himself to 11th. Steve Warwick, father of Colin, in 12th. Jay Borg in 13th, with Michael Pollard in 14th. Pratt, the ever reliable Pratt, in 15th place. Aiden Sykes, who's got a couple of fans in the chat, in 16th. With Lachlan Horan rounding out the top 17, which is an odd number, but I'm going to say that because we then have two people. Yeah, Luke Rosella and Jake Maloney, two people who we don't expect to see at the back. I say that we do expect to see Jake Maloney at the back because
but not on pace.
That's what he seems to do. Is he just joins at after qualifying to give himself something to do, and we can play the game of how many cars is Jake Maloney going to lap in the first lap, or how many cars is he going to overtake in the first lap rather. And how long will it take for him to get into the podium positions? I'm betting 5 laps.
5 laps?
5 laps to be in the podium positions.
Alright, our camera doesn't have a great zoom, but there is the lights for you. And we'll be getting underway. Kurt Stenberg and Colin Warwick, series admins at the first and second row on the grid. Sean Allen just went a little bit far beyond his grid spot there and somehow had to reverse, but I think we're all good now. We're pretty much lined up and we're ready to go racing. Just the lights between us and racing.
Red lights.
And away they go. So Kurt Stenberg with a good launch. A little bit of wheel spin in the second phase though. Colin Warwick on the outside. And the ZB car of Zach Baker trying to go in beside, but that has been denied to him. So Kurt Stenberg leads the way. Colin Warwick in behind. Bit of side-by-side action, but looks like they're all through turn 1 safely.
Yeah, Sean Allen lost out on the start. He is down into 5th place. Lachlan Burke getting that position on him, as well as Zach Baker. So a very bad start there for the Race on Oz guys. But Kurt Stenberg exactly what he needed, out into the lead. Colin Warwick is not letting go though. He is still right on his rear. And Jake Maloney already up into 15th.
My goodness, what a start there. So up 5 spots. So a good first lap there as Colin Warwick nearly bowls it wide down there at turn 6 as they file through the final sector, right up the rear bumper of the championship leader.
Incredible closing pace there in that braking zone for Colin Warwick. Was able to close right up onto Kurt Stenberg. And Colin Warwick has said a few times in the past that he wants to get a few more podiums and try to get a few wins. And he is definitely in the right racing mindset tonight to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well on the way. So that's the first lap done. It looks like we've got 19 runners who started this race all circulating, facing the right way. And
Fantastic.
Green sectors coming through all the way through. So the fastest first and final sectors were Kurt Stenberg. The fastest man in the middle sector was Lachlan Burke, currently in 4th place. So great start there for Lachlan Burke, who's currently holding Sean Allen at bay after a good start.
Yeah, Zach Baker just keeping his nose out of trouble. He's losing touch with Colin Warwick and Kurt Stenberg a little bit. The two leaders are starting to lope off, while Sean Allen is right on the back of Lachlan Burke, trying to get those positions back that he lost off the start.
So they're going side by side, I think, into turn 6 as Sean Allen tries to make his way around the outside. Lachlan Burke gives him no space and they both go onto the grass, and so too does David Nedidich in the background, ahead of Brody Steen and Benjamin Dahlia, side by side as Sean Allen finally is able to effect the pass on Lachlan Burke. And I said finally, really, we're only on the second lap of this race, but it felt like a long battle, didn't it?
It did. Lachlan Burke probably not too happy with that. Looked like he got a little bit of help getting off the track there, and his tyres are maybe a bit scrubbed because he's a bit messy through the remainder of the lap, but he is still right in with a shot to take the fight back to Sean Allen, especially with that long back straight. There's a lot of opportunity to get a good tow.
Good tow indeed. So, bit of a gap there ahead of Sean Allen to the top 3, with Zach Baker keeping the race leaders at bay. I should say keeping them honest, because he would be keeping them at bay if he was in front of them. But it's Kurt Stenberg leading away out of turn 4 there. He's put a little bit of a gap there between himself and Colin Warwick. Early lap times in the low 8s from the front leaders, as opposed to the back leaders.
So I wasn't going to say anything. Cuts for days at that last right-hander, says Lewis Wedding, and absolutely, I was about to make mention of that. There's quite a bit of track extending going on, which probably around Sandown, it's not probably that helpful. Get in there, Sykes. I want Aiden Sykes. Where is he? Says a few people. I'll tell you where he is. He's in 19th place.
Let's give him a bit of airtime. There he is there. I think he's had a spin at some stage, because he's down there in 19th with, yes, a gap in front of him that's bigger than the gap covering the top 18 drivers at the moment. So that's a bit of a shame for Aiden Sykes.
My gambling prowess is not very good. Jake Maloney's only in 13th, and we're about to start lap 4, so he's been stymied somewhat with his forward progression. As we see, Colin Warwick has caught up to Kurt Stenberg a little bit. That gap is just hovering around that half a second mark, with the gap back to Zach Baker being about 2 seconds.
Here is Jake Maloney. We haven't had a chance to look at him, and someone spun out there. Is it Alex Cattle?
No. Oh, no, it is Alex Cattle. You're very correct. Sorry, they're both red cars, so they look the same to me. He's just got it facing the right way again. So
now he is all but last. It looks like Aiden Sykes has had some sort of other issue because now he's 50 seconds.
Might be in the pits because it's just going up and up and up.
So he might be repairing some damage. Right you are, Madbird. He is indeed in the pits. Cycling back to the leading two. As we'll try and catch a replay of what happened there to Alex Cattle. But it looks very much, as we've just seen, that Aiden Sykes has retired, unfortunately.
Oh no.
But Alex Cattle may well have lit it up on the exit of turn 4.
The Aiden fans of the chat are going to be absolutely ropeable. Get in there, Sykes. No, Aiden. If what happened to Sykes and poor Aiden, there's going to be F's in chat in a moment. Make sure you put all of your F's in chat for the race of Aiden Sykes. Hopefully comes back for race number 2. That was what we just saw there, the spin of Alex Cattle. Just lit it up coming onto the back straight.
He thought the throttle pedal was the man in jail who sold him poor quality drugs, and he stabbed it just a little bit too hard.
That was an interesting bow that I saw you draw.
Tell you what, it was a long one. My arms hurt. So I just saw Colin Warwick going a little bit off the track there in pursuit of Kurt Stenberg. That was down at 6. So he's pushing hard for the lead of this race.
He is. He's keeping the pressure on, which we've seen Kurt Stenberg sometimes does cave to a bit of pressure. So if Colin Warwick's able to just keep himself in that rearview mirror, might push Kurt Stenberg into a mistake. Although last round, as we see a replay here of Colin Warwick chasing after him, and that is a lot of grass that he's taking there going through turn 7.
And then there was a bit of a lock-up from Kurt on the way into the next corner there, so he was pushing as well.
Someone clearly tampered with Aiden Sykes' car. Says Australia is my city. That is certainly a possibility.
No, Australia is not a city. It's not a possibility, Madbird.
Is not what I was referring to.
Fair enough.
As I think we've got a couple of people appreciating your bow that you drew. We've got stairs.
Mainly Michael.
An interesting line from Insight.
Well, he would know. He's got the insight.
He's an insightful.
This is. Let's give you some insight on the battle for the last spot on the podium. Sean Allen has caught up to Zach Baker, and on the basis of their last lap time, shouldn't waste too much time getting past him because he was 0.6 of a second faster than Zach Baker.
Yeah, Sean got released from Lachlan Burke. We saw that. We saw the overtake on that occasion, and since then he's just been closing in on Zach Baker lap after lap. And Zach Baker doesn't have the pace to stick with the leading pair. Sean Allen trying to go down the inside of turn 1, and he's up alongside. And Zach Baker has to give him the room. Gets pushed out just a little bit wide, but he will have the inside for the next corner if he can stick in there, but it doesn't look like he can. Sean Allen swoops through to take that last podium position. Zach Baker will have the opportunity if he can get a good exit. As Sean Allen gets a bad exit, gets a little bit tail happy coming out onto the back straight, but I don't think Zach Baker's close enough to challenge going into turn 6.
Yeah, so Sean Allen with a full head of steam right now. He matched Colin Warwick on the previous lap. So at the moment, Kurt Stenberg's in a bit of a class of his own on a 108.294. And more or less everyone else is in the mid to high 8s, down into the 9s and 10s. So Kurt Stenberg very much with his hand around the throat of this race at this stage.
Well, the man we're watching, Sean Allen, he did have the qualifying lap record here, so he definitely knows this track.
He still does, because I don't think we topped it.
No, I don't think. No, I think we had a 7.5 or a 7.6. I think was what we had for pole position. But regardless, he knows this track, and if he can just close in on those leaders, make it a 3-horse race, then we get a very interesting race there.
So Lachlan Burke here, I think he's catching back up to these guys. So he was ahead of Sean Allen and in the early stages, but then he lost that space, and he appears to have a bit more pace than Zach Baker right now. I wonder if Zach Baker's had a mistake or he's just dealing with some tyre dramas, because yes, he did get past in that previous lap, but he was in the 1 minute 10. So prior to that, he was in the low 8s. So he's lost 2 seconds on that previous lap. Is he struggling with grip? Or, well, he's certainly struggling with grip there, just the car not wanting to turn in. And he's coming under renewed pressure here from the All-Australian races. triple four driven by Lachlan Burke.
Maybe he's had a big lock-up somewhere, has scrubbed off some of the grip on his tyres, because that car does not look like it is tracking 100% true, especially through the corners, which is generally where you want the grip.
Yeah, generally where you want it to be tracking straight too. Although having said that, the straights are a good place for it to track straight.
That's a very good point.
The insight that you guys come for also helps when I hit go live at the right time. But anyway, moving swiftly on from that.
No idea what you're talking about. So, we're still watching Lachlan Burke here pressurising Zach Baker. Only 0.3 of a second separating the two of them.
Dropped off a bit in the last half a lap or so, it has to be said.
What was Zach
It
Baker
doesn't
last
have to
time
be
around?
said, but it would help the benefit of your enjoyment of the
A
race.
109.4 last time around for Zach Baker, so a little bit better. But it does seem to be, he's struggling to make those apexes going through the S's. And at the front, looks like the gap is still pretty much what it is. It's maybe ballooned out about a tenth. It's about 0.6 of a second between Kurt Stenberg and Colin Warwick, so he's not leaving Colin Warwick in the dust.
Kelvinder Singh's just made his way through the pit lane, so he's dropping back as a result of that.
Do we expect pit stops to be required, Stairs?
Yes, they are compulsory. There is a compulsory pit stop in this race, so Kelvinder Singh has pulled the trigger early on his one. Well, I should say early, that's pretty much the halfway point, so...
Whoa, Sean Allen, something has happened. He is down into 8th place.
Is he in the pits? Let's have a look.
Oh, very possibly. Got very excited all of a sudden. Yes, he was in the pits. Okay,
Yep.
so
that's about right time. Calm down. There's nothing to be worried about. Will he affect an undercut? Well, he's got a bit of traffic as he comes out, so that's a bit of a pain for Sean Allen. We also Luke Rosella going side by side out of the pit lane with who's that? Can't quite tell. RSM Latino. So RSM Latino and Luke Rosella. So we've got a few other cars. I think Brapp has just made his way into the pits, so I should expect that the leaders won't be too far off.
Oh.
And indeed, we've got Colin Warwick coming into the pits. There he is there. So he's pulled the trigger early, trying for an undercut.
I reckon Jake Maloney has been through the pits as well, because he's dropped down a few positions.
Zach Baker, Lachlan Burke are in as well.
Sort of snuck up on me, and I just saw names.
You forgot about pit stops. That's all right.
Pit stops existed.
This is your first...
blowing the cobwebs out my ears.
Exactly. This is the first race for you for the year, so we forgive you a little bit. Last time was our first day of school. This is your first day of school.
Yep. I started a day later.
Hasn't stopped me from making a few little blunders, and when I say blunders...
the curry calamity.
Yes, well, the curry calamity, that was unfortunate. Geez, what's going on back there in the back of shot? We've got a number of cars crashing into each other in the pits. I think that was one of the ZB cars. I wonder if we can get some sort of replay of that. Kurt Stenberg, unfortunately, in the meantime, has caught a little bit of traffic.
Well, that'll help Colin Warwick in his attempt to undercut him. As we try to get some footage of what happened in the pit lane. Kurt Stenberg coming around the last corner, and he is now coming into the pits. So a lap between them. So we'll have to keep a weather eye on where Colin Warwick is.
And while that's happening, we'll just catch a replay. So this is Benjamin Dahlia coming into his stop, and unfortunately, was that Zach Baker or David? It was the 512, which is...
I believe that's David Nenadic.
David Nenadic couldn't quite get out of his spot and had to reverse.
Put his headlights on. I'm not sure exactly what he was expecting Benjamin Dahlia to do.
Well, he might cop a penalty there because he's not allowed to have his headlights on. Oh, he's taken them off as soon
I think
as
he had them
out.
on to express his displeasure as Kurt Stenberg
Probably
leaves
fair
the pits. It looks like Colin Warwick is just coming through the last corner.
There he is there in the back of shots. So it's mighty, mighty close. In fact, Colin Warwick might have a good run here because he's up to speed and Kurt Stenberg's still trying to get up to speed. Colin Warwick's going to dive down the inside, and with the benefit of the warmer tyres, he's going to try and effect the overtake. Kurt Stenberg's trying to hang tough around the outside of one, which gives him the inside for two. They bump into two, but Kurt Stenberg has managed to barge his way through down the inside. Colin Warwick's going to go at four, and again they'll go side by side. He gets a little bit of a wiggle on the exit of four though, and that is going to give Kurt Stenberg the place for now. I don't think he's given up on this Colin Warwick though. He's going to try one more time. It's absolute suicide down into turn 6 though. I reckon Kurt's got this done.
Yeah, Colin Warwick just pokes the nose out to make Kurt Stenberg think about him. Maybe try to bowl him wide at turn 6, but he was too smart for that. But Colin Warwick down the inside at turn 9.
Sorry.
Just as our camera cuts away. But
I just saw a 4-car battle going on the other screen. But
that's right. It's Colin Warwick buggered it up. It's not happening anyway.
Sorry, Cole.
We've got the...
Jake Maloney, Brody... No, that's not Brody Steen. Yes, it is Brody Steen.
Brody Steen and the
Zach
two
Baker
ZB
and
cars.
David Nenadich. So this is, well...
5th through 8th.
And that was David Nenadich in the pits who lost all that time. So that's put him into this battle pack in 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th place. So Jake Maloney, I think he spies 4 spots there as Brody Steen gets bump drafted almost by David Nenadich down the main straight.
That will put him into 5th, which is only two positions away from the podium positions, which I've got a weather eye on, and so wide for Brody Steen and for one of the ZB guys who also gets pinched by Jake Maloney. Jake Maloney around the outside of Brody Steen as easy as you like, and it is only Zach Baker now ahead of him.
I looked away at the timing screen for about a second, and when I looked back, Jake Maloney was 2 positions ahead of where he was when I had taken my eyes off the screen.
That's what he does.
That's Jake Maloney.
That is Jake Maloney.
He is a ninja.
He is a ninja, but with no brethren to stroke.
Another longbow, or another reference that will go, I'm sure, missed by a few as Zach Baker locks up down there.
Brody Steen holding on to that position ahead of David Nenadich. It is a bit of a long-running battle between ZB and Race on Oz in the Teams Championship.
Now, meanwhile, Sean Allen is putting Colin Warwick under pressure. So from fighting for the lead a lap ago, he's dropped back a second, and now Sean Allen is making him think twice about whether he'll finish second.
The move that you cut away from Colin Warwick went very deep, so that cost him quite a bit of time, which has allowed Sean Allen to catch up to him, as we see Sean Allen's teammate Brody Steen, who's lost the position to David Nenadich, now getting it back, going through turns 2 and 3. And we have a penalty for Lachlan Horan, a drive-through penalty, which I'm guessing is a pit lane speed violation, which is a shame for him. Where's he? He's down in 18th already, 1 lap down, so
probably not going to...
Unfortunately, it's probably not going to have any bearing on anyone except himself.
It was a drive-through penalty for speeding in the pit lane.
It's a damn shame for him.
That is a bit... Well, yes. Probably not for whoever's behind him, but...
which is no one.
Which is no one.
Aiden Sykes
not
gutted that he's missing out on that 18th position.
Dealing with a bit of damage, I think.
At the front, Colin Warwick still 0.2 of a second ahead of Sean Allen as they come down into turn 1. Oh, there's a bit of late movement there from Colin Warwick to defend.
Ooh.
Sean Allen barely avoided slamming into the back of him, so that was a little bit rude, a little bit how you going, a little bit how's your mother, how's your father, and as they go through turns 2 and 3,
Whoa.
Sean Allen is right on his rear bumper.
My goodness. How's your brothers, how's your sisters? Cousins, one and all. There we go, through turn 4. Colin Warwick still in 2nd place.
How is your greater extended family as they go down the back straight? And Sean Allen with a toe might be able to have a go down into turn 6, which is never going to end well. Looks like he's holding on to it just right up his rear bumper. I do not have the confidence that these guys do in these cars.
Yes, but they are... Well, there we go, bowled it wide. Bowled
exactly
it wide.
What he did when he was trying to overtake Kurt Stenberg, he did when he was defending from Sean Allen. So
down into turn 9. That's a tricky braking zone. Your sort of car's kind of unsettled going in there over the top of left, right, down hills, over curbs. And unfortunately,
up and down Dale.
That has forced Colin Warwick down into 3rd place. He has a reasonable gap. Well, I was going to say reasonable gap. He doesn't have a particularly reasonable gap to Lachlan Burke. Lachlan Burke's only 1.3 seconds behind him, and he's just set a personal best lap of a 108.2. And the representative time from Colin Warwick isn't really one that he didn't set a representative time the last time because he was battling so hard with Sean Allen. He was down in the 10s, so he just wants to knuckle down and put some fast laps together so he can stay on the podium. Just the 2 laps to go after this one.
That snuck up.
Hasn't it?
Lachlan Horan has in fact DNF'd, so decided he didn't want to serve that drive-through penalty.
Like a librarian.
Fair enough. Snuck up like a librarian.
So maybe a quick stock take while we've got the opportunity. That is Colin Warwick in 3rd place with Lachlan Burke trying his best to get his first podium in this category. Zach Baker in 5th place, so he qualified 3rd, so he actually no, he qualified 4th. He was in 3rd towards the end of the qualifying session, so he's down 1 spot there. Jake Maloney up 13 spots. Can he get into the top 5? He's just made light work of Brody Steen. This was the battle quite close before. Luke Rosella from the back of the grid has found his way up to 8th. We haven't even talked about him in this race, but after not setting a time in qualifying, that's a pretty decent run from him. Second in the championship going into tonight, so he's doing his best to limit the damage by getting up 10 spots from where he qualified. And then we've got Benjamin Dahlia and RSM Latino rounding out the top 10. David Nenadic, after a poor pit stop, looks like he's had some other issue to drop him down to 11th. He's just holding off Steve Warwick, father of Colin Warwick. And then we've got Jay Borg in 13th, ahead of Brap, who's up from where he started, and then Michael Pollard in 15th, ahead of Alex Cattle, who he's recovering from a spin at turn 4 in the early laps of this race. It looks like he might make light work of Michael Pollard. Let's just keep with this for the time being. We'll keep an eye on what's going on in the rest of the field while that occurs. But Alex Cattle may well have just enough of a toe to have a go down into turn 1. And he's given him a serve, actually. A little bit of defensive action there from Michael Pollard. Let's play on. So, good little battle going on down there, and they're being chased down by Kelvinder Singh, who's just had a massive moment out of turn 4 there. And he is the last one in, last car running, as you mentioned before, Manbird. Lachlan Horan electing not to take that penalty and deciding the garage was a good area for him to lay claim. And Aiden Sykes also, as Kurt Stenberg's now on the final lap of the race.
Yeah, 2.5 seconds the gap between himself and Sean Allen. Colin Warwick, sorry, not falling away from Sean Allen, but doesn't look like he's got any pace to make the challenge for this last sector as they go through the S's. Well, I say that he's right on the back of him coming through turn 9 even, and he's down the inside. What is happening?
Sean Allen running out of fuel, maybe.
Or maybe
that happened incredibly quickly. At the moment we were looking at him before, and he was only just, well, he was the second ahead. Kurt Stenberg's going to come across to grab his second victory of the championship. 2 from 3. Great start for Kurt Stenberg. Colin Warwick gets second place back at the death, and Sean Allen finishes third. What a bizarre finish to that race. Well, I don't know what on earth was going on. Let's just see who else is coming across the line, because we've got Lachlan Burke. He's just finished in 4th place, ahead of Zach Baker in 5th. And in fact, was he running out of field? No, he did finish.
He did finish in 5th,
yes. Jake Maloney ended up in 6th behind, then Brody Steen in 7th. Luke was there on 8th. I don't think too many positions have changed hands since we did the stock take about 2 laps ago. David Nenadic finishing up 11th. Steve Warwick in 12th. And then we've just got Jay Borg coming across the line to finish now. And then Brap, Alex Cattle, Michael Pollard and Kelvinder Singh. Celebrations though for Kurt Stenberg. He's going to extend his championship lead.
That is 2 wins from 3 races, which is a pretty good record to have. 66%, and I think he's done that intentionally.
I'm sure he would tell you that he has.
So
he gets rid of the number 1, all of a sudden he starts winning races.
Yeah, a coincidence? I think not.
Well, you know, he's got the number 1 in the ASR Supercars Championship, and I don't think it went too well the other week, so it's only adding credence to this superstition.
I think the number 1's a bit boring anyway, so I probably wouldn't take it even if I was in the position 2.
I prefer a number 2. Gives you more time to do things.
You can look at your phone. You can do some Sudoku.
Is that what you call it? Doing a Sudoku.
You can check for illusions.
Where is Thomas McMillan? He was watching us from his throne this time last year. last round.
Oh my goodness! Of course he was. What a classy individual that man
in
is.
his work bathroom.
Ah yes.
Sure, his boss heard us yelling and screaming about cars going over the fence at the cutting.
You know what they say? You spend 10 minutes of your working day on the toilet, then by the end of the year, you've cheated yourself quite a bit of time in terms of hours.
To be fair though, if they docked you pay for taking a crap, that would be crap.
Oh, absolutely. That was not the best wordplay I've ever heard you use.
Well, it was accurate.
It was accurate.
We had a bit of a loss in motorsport since the last round. So apologies, we did have some audio lined up for that, but we just took that opportunity for a quick break. The tribute on the screen was for Murray Walker, of course, and it's fair to say that there isn't too much that hasn't already been said about that great man. It felt a little bit like losing a favourite grandfather when we heard of the loss of Murray Walker, and to me, sort of the benchmark for all commentators, that sort of trademark enthusiasm, making a few mistakes as I'm doing a fair bit of tonight. But Madbird, I mean, you joined in as a fan of motorsport a bit later in life, but even though you didn't get to see any of his races live, you would have gone through and watched a lot of historic moments with him as the soundtrack for those moments.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah, and just that voice and those Murrayisms, like, are the thing that you think of when you think of Formula One, and considering that, you know, the current crop of commentators, Martin Brundle, etc., all basically hail him as their inspiration and the thing that they look up to. It casts a dark shadow in a good way over Formula One. That sounded quite grim, but yeah, a huge loss to motorsport and to the world.
And they say these things come in threes, and it seems to have been the way with Sabine Schmitz, unfortunately dying of cancer last week, and just this morning learning that Johnny Dumfries, a driver from the 1980s, has also lost his life to cancer. So huge, sad time in the motorsport fraternity with so many well-known personalities losing their lives.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it when I jumped on Slack and saw the headline about Sabine. That's yeah, that's very sad.
And I didn't even know she was sick, so that's it was a huge shock to me.
Sort of can keep quiet, I suppose.
Quick reminder of the racetrack there, as we're just finishing up another quick qualifying session. They throw these at us pretty quickly.
Oh, I thought this was warm-up.
Yes, but then I realised everyone was on the racetrack, which they don't tend to do in practice. So at the moment, we've just got Kurt Stenberg with a 107.7, so still nowhere near that qualifying track record. And then Colin Warwick is 1/10 of a second behind him. It's Cattle there, but Luke Rosella, he was setting the early pace in this session, and he's been bumped down to 4th. Sean Allen only a 1/10 away. Colin Warwick, well, there's nothing separating them in 2nd and 3rd place.
Also, Manfred Creamer of the Creamer Racing Team, Michael Zalavari. So
these things come in 4s?
apparently they come in 4s. Let's hope they don't come in 5s.
Hopefully it's not 3 3s.
Oh, God. Yes.
No one else die.
Nobody die.
I'll be accused of jinxing that now, probably.
Yes.
But Luke Rosella's just popped to the top of the timesheets there on a 107.695.
There we go. That's where we expect him to be, not the last row of the grid.
Oh, here we go. Sean Allen's on a heater, as they say. Third place currently, but lighting up all the timing screens. Purple in the first sector, very, very close in the second sector. And I don't expect that he'll get too much trouble in front of him with that car. Might give him a tow, if anything. I think it's Michael Pollard. And he's lost it all. Well, he's the man he holds the record currently, 107.4, and he hasn't quite got close to his own lap record. So normally in these kinds of events we tend to see the times tumbling. The records tend to disappear, but for whatever reason they haven't been able to get close enough this time around.
So Jake Maloney's actually in the server for a qualifying session, but I don't think he's going out to set a lap. So it must be a thing of his where he just wants to see how high he can climb each.
Quite a habit, isn't it?
It seems to be, which I wonder how well he'd be doing in the championship if he decided to qualify.
This is an adventure of Aiden Sykes.
Oh goodness, well we've got a few of his fans in the chat, so they'll get to witness this. Straight into the gravel.
Yeah, it's tricky once you lose. Oh, that's a bit of an unsafe rejoin. Who was that in front of?
Luckily he got out of the way again, much not intentionally, I imagine.
So he's returned to the pit lane. And so too have Kurt Stenberg.
The qualifying session's
and
over.
Colin Warwick. So those two are not going to better the time set by Luke Rosella, who's jumped up with a 107.695. So the qualifying record remains intact, but Luke Rosella has got himself a pole position. So well done to Luke Rosella for Synergy Sim Racing.
That's going to make it interesting for the battle for the lead during the second race. F, my boy, and Rip Sykes in the chat.
My boy.
And to just follow on from my talking earlier, 10 minutes a day on the toilet, and over the course of a year, that is 44 hours worth of time that you have spent on the toilet instead of not working. So
is it, can I just clarify that?
Yes.
Is it 44 hours or is it 43 hours, 0.66666 recurring?
You can see the calculator on my phone screen. I mean,
43 hours, so that would be
it up,
and 40 minutes or
rounding it up on the assumption that, you probably spend...
You have 1 or 2 days where you just can't really get it out.
Yeah, you probably don't spend...
Cost you an extra 10 minutes.
You probably don't have a timer going, so you go exactly 10 minutes on the toilet.
Oh, your boss does, though. Because he knows what you're doing in there.
Only God knows what
you're
I'm
extracting feces.
So,
my apologies, gentlemen.
Somehow Aiden Sykes has managed to qualify behind Jake Maloney, with neither of them setting lap times.
Not sure why that is,
but we will get to see how Jake Maloney goes from the back of the grid with Luke Rosella, his former back of the grid companion.
This will be very interesting
at the front of the grid.
because Kurt Stenberg. Because Kurt Stenberg didn't have to contend with Luke Rosella in the first race.
That's very true. Kurt Stenberg only had to contend with Colin Warwick, who now has got a car between himself and him, with Sean Allen managing to tip him to that third place. So it's going to be a decent fight for the top 4, I think. If Luke Rosella can keep Kurt Stenberg honest, Sean Allen and Colin Warwick could easily buy into that battle for the lead as well. Michael Zalavari raises a very good question of why do we always end up talking about feces. We had a decent camping trip to the Flinders Ranges, and all of our stories revolve around it. So it must just be where our humour lies.
I think I was revolving around that particular feces. It was that big.
It had a gravitational pull.
It was a big one.
Oh, we got a few moments. Make sure you.
It took some effort to get it out.
Make sure you hit like on the stream, and absolutely please subscribe to
for more of this kind.
For more of this conversation. Kurt Stenberg saying, have dip.
Have dip?
Have
yeah,
dip?
He's planning to have a dip. He's had a dip in race 1.
Yep.
And he's, I'm sure, planning to have another dip in race 2.
As in French onion, or what are we talking about?
No, I think just like as in going to have a try.
Ah, excellent. You're all full of feces. says Michael Zalavari. Check this out, says Kurt Stenberg.
Oh, hang on. We got to... I hadn't planned to queue up a driver while we were waiting in this, but in this warm-up, I guess we will see if we can get some vision. But apparently he's gone back to the pits.
This is going to be the battle for Australia's biggest motor race, says Kurt Stenberg.
Sandown.
Yep.
Second biggest motor race.
Second biggest motor race. As I was saying, make sure you like and subscribe if you do like what we put on. And if you feel the need, hop over onto Facebook and give us a like over there as well. Automobilista Supercars Championship and Apex Rear Wing. And if you like the job we do putting on this broadcast, consider going over to patreon.com/Apex Rear Wing and throwing us a coffee or two a month. We would greatly appreciate it.
Not on the basis of what you've seen tonight, of course.
No, just, well, you know, I reckon we've held it together pretty well.
We've got Tasmania next round. That's one to look forward to.
Absolutely.
Always throws up some interesting races. The
Tasmania.
very short track that is Simmons Plains.
Ah, of course. I was thinking of the other track
in Tasmania.
No, I think it's in Perth, but I thought it was in Tasmania. Barbagallo. Spicy capsicum dip, says Kurt Stenberg, which would not go well with my ulcerative colitis.
Oh, yeah. You can't eat capsicum?
I can eat capsicum, it's fine.
Good, because I fed you capsicum once.
Did you?
Yeah,
Oh.
It was in the bolognese sauce when we went camping.
Oh, that
the
was
one
lovely.
that produced that enormous... I'm trying to think of a more creative word for turd. So it doesn't seem so crass when I talk
Fecal
about
log.
That's not... That's very crass.
Fuck. I mean, pardon.
Not the Perth Super Night, that's not the next
Perth
round.
Super Night.
You've got a song for every racetrack. What's the Sandown song?
I don't have I have a song for Perth Super Night because that was the very first stream that I ran without your assistance.
Was that the song?
That was the song.
That was the song.
That was one of my first interactions with... There he is. Michael Zalavari is across it. Blood and mad, but are in control of the stream.
I watched helplessly from Singapore.
Helpless indeed,
Yes.
as I made an absolute mockery.
No, you
of
did.
it.
I mean, you did better than I've done tonight. You remember to hit go live at the start of the broadcast.
We're not going to talk about it.
That's a fair call from Oxidane.
Oxidane.
To be fair, there's not a lot going on. It's just a warm-up
It's
session.
just a warm-up session, you know.
And we will dispense with talking about excrement once the racing starts.
Immense fecal log.
Very proud of that, aren't you?
I'm very proud of that. I'm going to use that in my day-to-day life.
Are you?
As well as I have nothing to say in support of someone that's just done something incredibly stupid.
Fair enough. That was a good line.
That was
from
a very
our,
good line.
Esteemed colleague, Michael Zalavari, who's much better at keeping on track than we are.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
No, I think it brings a bit of charm to it. You know, you got to have
charm. Adds a bit of charm.
It adds a bit of charm. It's nice. It's different. It's unusual.
Nice. You don't even like that show.
It's grown on me
It's
because
different. It's unusual.
It's grown on me because my partner has just finished rewatching it for the 4th time, and I think by osmosis, I've now watched the entire series, just by picking up different episodes on each occasion that she's rewatched it. And yeah, you know, it's not that bad.
It's I find to be quite an accurate documentary.
She was telling me that she went to Melbourne to visit her sister, and they went to Fountainhead Shopping Centre.
Fountain Gate.
Fountaingate, to apologise. Fountainhead.
You're not a real fan.
Fountainhead is a horribly fascist novel by Ayn Rand, which we're not going to speak anymore about. But Fountaingate, and she was incredibly excited and turned to her sister and said, "We're going to Fountaingate." Which
I can't think of anywhere worse. Wouldn't it be like every other shopping centre in the world?
I think that's exactly what she said it was. It was incredibly disappointing. But Stairs, I think you have the grid.
I do. We've got Luke Rosella in pole position for Synergy Sim Racing, and he had a good recovery drive in race 1 after not really getting a qualifying lap in. So very interested to see what he can do versus Kurt Stenberg in the race tonight. Then we've got Sean Allen, and behind Sean Allen in 3rd place, it is Colin Warwick. Colin Warwick, who had a bit of a dip, fair to say, in race 1. He had a bit of a dip, didn't quite come out, but he got podium position, ended up finishing 2nd after an unexplained slowdown for Sean Allen towards the end of that race. Lachlan Burke out of 5th place, he has Zach Baker for company on the third row of the grid. And then behind Zach Baker, it's Alex Cattle for Race on Oz. Brody Steen is behind them in 8th place, and then behind him, Benjamin Dahlia for Race on Oz. The satellite entries, RSM Latino in 10th place, and then behind them, Adrian Instinct for RSM Racing. He starts out of 11th place from Brab. Good qualifying session for the Mr. Apex Motorsport driver, and then Steve Warwick will start out of 13th. David Nenovich, uncharacteristically low down the order in 14th place. Kelvinder Singh will be looking for a stronger race in race 2. And then we've got Aiden Sykes out of 16th place, and Jake Maloney once again electing not to qualify.
So, our Farkanee climb this time around. He didn't actually manage to get into the top 5 last time around. I reckon he's got his nose in now. He's got his nose in, he's got his ear in, he's got his eye in, even.
He's got one of his appendages of his face on.
He's got something. He's got a sensory organ on his head that is in the game, and I reckon he's going to get top 5 this time around.
You reckon?
I reckon. He won't have Luke Rosella to contend with this time around, as we've now got a much higher resolution. That's someone with a camcorder standing on the tower.
Yeah, we got them to go a little bit closer to the lights this time.
Good luck, Sykes. Good luck, everyone.
Good luck, everyone. Lights are on. Lights are off. Green light for everyone, and nothing but wheel spin for Luke Rosella off pole position as Kurt Stenberg sweeps through into the lead of the race.
Easy as you like.
So through they go, side by side. Colin Warwick with a pretty good start, it has to be said. He goes toe-to-toe there with Luke Rosella. So Luke Rosella shuffled all the way back to third. Behind them, Lachlan Burke and Sean Allen are going side by side.
Yeah, Lachlan Burke once again getting that position off Sean Allen on the start. So Sean dropping positions on the start for the second race in a row.
Oh, someone's in the fence in the background out of turn 4. And that is Steve Warwick, father of Colin Warwick, who's having a dip in second place. Let's catch a replay of what happened there. All sorts of action, so he'd been shuffled down already at that stage. He started out of 13th place and then went side by side. Jake Maloney trying to go around the outside, but he's done it all by himself on the curb and into the fence.
It's a bit of stabbing on the throttle by the looks of it. He's lost his bonnet as part of the bargain. Luke Rosella did lose those positions, first and second on the start, but he is not going anywhere. He's right on the bumper of Colin Warwick as they come across the line to start lap 2. Let's go, Aiden, says it is I in the chat. Aiden Sykes currently in 16th, beneficiary of Steve Warwick's accident. Oh my god, getting all burpy.
Oh, look at that. Wide for Kurt Stenberg out of turn 1 there. So Colin Warwick once again with a bit of an opportunity, but Luke Rosella's had a bit of an attempt to get past there. So he's having to look in front as well as behind at the moment as they all get into the back of each other. Sean Allen looking like he gave Lachlan Burke a bit of a serve there, and they're going to go side by side.
I reckon around this time last race is when Lachlan Burke gave Sean Allen a little bit of a serve heading down and into turn 6. So maybe that was a little bit of payback for Sean Allen, taking back that 4th position. And he's managed to keep it tidy going through the S's, holds on to that 4th position, still 1 position down from where he started in 3rd, as we see just how close they all are at the front. So that is first through to, I'm going to say 10th or 11th, but are all pretty much very, very close together.
Yeah, they're testicles to anuses right there.
First through 6th are nuts to butts. As we've got an onboard of Sean Allen right behind Luke Rosella.
So he's in the tow, but they've all got a tow. They're daisy chaining all the way down to a bit of a lock up there from Colin Warwick. Turn 1. They'll get through.
Oh, it's a little bit messy going into turn 2.
Yeah, Sean Allen was having a little bit of a look on Luke Rosella there.
Nothing doing.
Nothing doing at all, but Sean Allen didn't quite get the exit out of turn 4. I don't know if he'll have an opportunity here, but he's definitely on the hunt for his 2nd podium of the night. He did get a podium in Bathurst, so he'd be adding to his tally from the beginning of the night. But look at that, Luke Rosella having a bit of a go here on Colin Warwick.
Oh, that's ended, well, surprisingly well, actually.
Yeah, it's not often you go through turn 6 side by side as Sean Allen goes down the inside. So it's do or get done here, or do and then get done.
As Lachlan Burke now trying to take advantage as well to get around the outside of Luke Rosella going into turn 11. Does not manage to do so, so Luke Rosella hangs on to that 4th position, but Sean Allen, very opportunistic to jump up and into that 3rd, where he started this race.
Well, while that's all been happening, Kurt Stenberg's been making a bit of a break for it, so he's got the gap at the front nearly out to 1 second. There it is, ebbing and flowing ever so slightly because Colin Warwick has got Sean Allen in his mirrors, and he's probably a little bit more worried about that than he is the cars, or the single car in front of him.
He's probably not worried about is Aiden Sykes. We've got Rip Sykes in the chat. He is now a lap down in 17th place, so another race not going particularly well for Aiden.
He's in the pits, and Brap has just come across right in front of Steve Warwick, so thankfully he realised just in time and didn't cause an additional crash there. We're just going to try and see if we can catch a replay of what happened to Brap there. Looks like it was coming out of turn 3.
Gets a little bit of help from Kavinder Singh.
I think he was having a bit of an incident anyway.
Yeah, was probably just helped around, but was already going to go around regardless.
Meanwhile, back up front, Colin Warwick keeping Sean Allen at bay still.
Yep, Sean Allen going to get a little bit of a tow.
So Aiden Sykes has been in the pits for some time now, so he's probably been in the wars.
Safe to say he probably will not be making a break for the podium in this particular race.
2 laps down, it seems unlikely. Long odds for that one.
Very long odds. As we've still got quite a close battle from Lachlan Burke down to Brodie Steen. Those 4 cars, Lachlan Burke, the 2 ZB racing drivers, and Brodie Steen, very close together.
A replay of an off for Aiden Sykes. I think he might have already been damaged at this point.
Ooh. Oh, he's managed to keep it out of the wall. Oh. Never mind.
The car doesn't look like it's tracking straight.
It does not.
Even though he's reversing.
Does not. Kavinder Singh ought to redress that, says New Zealand Snipes Gaming.
On hand then, Snipes. Good to see you along. As this battle continues for second place. Sean Allen like a dog with a bone right now.
Yep, that is what, turn 11, turn 12 that they're going through there. So he's going to have the start finish straight. That looked like he got pushed a little bit wide there coming through turn 12. And he's dropped back just a little bit, so he would have been right up his chuff. He's had to settle for third on this occasion. And Lachlan Burke not too far behind this battle. That battle I was mentioning before, Lachlan Burke with Rosella and Zach Baker, actually quite close behind this battle between Sean Allen and Colin Warwick, taking time off each other, while Kurt Stenberg just lopes off into the distance.
They're holding each other up here, aren't they?
They are. They're all going to have a tow. They're going to be daisy chaining. That scared the hell out of me. They're going to be daisy chaining their tow, or to keep with the theme of tonight, human centipeding their tow the entire way down the back straight.
Just to explain your comment there, it sounds like a branch fell on our roof and then a dog barked at it, and that's what Madbird was referring to.
Scared the hell out of me. As Colin Warwick made a very interesting line through the S's, but it's paid off for him. He's managed to hold on to that second position, but only by the skin of his teeth. Sean Allen and Luke Rosella and Lachlan Burke, Zach Baker, all clamouring for that position. Colin Warwick currently the 4th from the bottom.
Don't know if it's worth showing you what happened to Aiden Sykes. We might move on swiftly from that. But
after all your efforts of scrubbing back to find it,
it was a tale of woe.
It has indeed DNF.
There were multiple incidents that were the cause of his podium hopes getting demolished.
Sean Allen down the inside of Colin Warwick at turn 1, and he's managed to get that second position. Colin Warwick having to drop down to 3rd with Lachlan Burke now right on the back of him. So Colin Warwick's going to have to watch out, or he will be getting shoved further down the order in quick succession.
And the green car up ahead is Brap there, just having to negotiate a bit of traffic now. Kurt Stenberg made his way safely past Brap.
They're going to get him right at the end of the straight.
Yeah, and it's tricky because the guys who are the lap runners don't have quite as much confidence through here as the top runners, who carry an awful lot of speed through there. But I think he was just far enough ahead for that not to be too much of an issue. So Sean Allen should be able to get through in the next few corners. We'll see. And indeed, Brap finds a very suitable place to let the train of cars go by. So it's a bit of a shame for Brap because he has to lift out of the throttle for so much time. But that was well done indeed. And Colin Warwick opting for an early pit stop there.
Very early pit. So, I guess this is about when we saw them in the first race, around lap 8, lap 9.
Well, it's probably a good thing if you're mired in the traffic or trying to.
He was just going to be losing positions, I think.
Yeah. So, new tyres. Bit of an undercut for Colin Warwick. We saw that the undercut seemed to work for him in race 1, but then he fell away a little bit after he had affected the pass, or tried to affect the pass on Kurt Stenberg.
have the knock-on effect of removing Lachlan Burke's toe, so he could easily come under attack from Luke Rosella at the back end of this straight. Luke Rosella, we saw earlier, is not shy about trying to shove it down the inside of turn 6.
Colin Warwick just making his way out of the pits now.
Sean Allen now in a bit of clear air to try to put his head down and chase after Kurt Stenberg.
The gap's out to 1.9 seconds now. So Kurt Stenberg's doing a masterful job right now of managing that gap, and he's elected not to pit on this occasion. Just trying to see if we've seen anyone else dive in. Luke Rosella.
So he's going to try to do an undercut. He's trying to get the undercut on Lachlan Burke. Lachlan Burke continuing on for another lap.
So this sort of checkerboard pit strategies creating a little bit of social distancing between these cars here. So
It's good to see.
well, in racing, it's not good to see. You want to see them close.
We've had Kavinder Singh DNF, so NZ Snipes got his wish in the sense that Kavinder Singh's going to come out worse compared to Brap.
And Alex Cattle also in the pits. Luke Rosella just exiting the pits we saw in that frame. Whoa. Just on the other screen, Kurt Stenberg was absolutely sideways coming through turn 6, having a real go as Brody Steen on our other screen goes deep onto the grass as well. Jake Maloney up to 6th place, 13 spots, albeit helped by some people having made a pit stop already, so we'll see where that shakes out. Kurt Stenberg going around again.
Yeah, so he's leaving it very late. Sean Allen into the pits, as is Zach Baker. So just waiting for these pit stops to all shake out to see where everyone's sort of going to slot back in. Colin Warwick maintained his lead over Luke Rosella, down in 11th and 12th. Sean Allen just coming to a stop now, so we would expect Sean Allen to remain in front of Colin Warwick. That was the battle that was going on at the moment. We'll see what's happening to Kavinder Singh, or what happened.
Well, he got up on the curve there.
Ooh. Not too bad.
Damage from that.
No, it must have just been a bit of frustration, maybe.
Yes, I think he had enough after that. Fair enough. He is reduced to a spectator. And now we will turn our attention to the race leader, Kurt Stenberg, to see if he comes in on this lap. So he's just coming through the final sector now. His teammate Jake Maloney's up to 2nd place because of everyone who's pitted in front of them.
And he does come in. It looks like Zach Baker's managed to get the undercut on Luke Rosella. Was definitely not in front of him before the pit stops.
And in 11th and 12th.
But has managed to come out ahead. So I think...
Very close ahead.
Unless there's been... Lachlan Burke has pit, has he not, I believe? And he's down in 7th.
Whoa! But Luke Rosella goes side by side with Zach Baker, and they have has a bit of a rallycross moment on the outside of turn 6. This is a very, very heated battle indeed. Was that a redress from Luke Rosella?
I was saying that he wasn't shy about shoving it down the inside at turn 6, and I think we just saw him try to shove it down the outside at turn 6, and did not come off particularly well for him. Kurt Stenberg rejoins in 3rd with Sean Allen just in the distance there behind him.
And
Colin Warwick
doesn't have things all going his own way as well. Colin Warwick resurgent. Well, he didn't quite affect the undercut like he did in race 1.
Definitely closed the gap though. He was quite a bit further behind Sean Allen than this.
We'll have older tyres though, as we've got some of... Well, there's Lachlan Burke. That answers your question. He hadn't made his pit stop. That's him coming out now in 11th place. So that has promoted Luke Rosella into 7th place and Zach Baker into 6th.
Running along has not worked out well for Lachlan Burke. He is well and truly out of... He was up there amongst the Luke Rosellas of this world.
Brody Steen into the pits, so he's going to relinquish the race lead. David Nenadic follows him in, and that's going to cleanse the field. Kurt Stenberg will go back into the lead of this race, but the top 3 is really, really closed up here.
It has. Kurt Stenberg waited for quite a long time, so he's going to have much fresher tyres for the last 7 laps of this race.
And Colin Warwick's got the oldest tyres, so he's going to have much less fresh tyres until the end of this race.
That's absolutely correct.
All I had to do was take your sentence and substitute the words
that is
in
how
relevant places.
Work. Absolutely.
Brody Steen coming out behind looks like he's going to fit into about 5th or 6th place, I think. Jack Maloney just going through past the pit exit right now.
Jack Maloney manages to hop ahead of Benjamin Dahlia. Oh no, sorry, that's David Netta just dropping down.
Oh, Jake Maloney's in the grass, well into the boonies at turn 1. What on earth has happened there to Jake Maloney?
There's one hell of a track extension.
Why?
And he's eager to get back onto the track.
So we're going to see a replay.
Just about a lap
Oh,
ago.
that's not a replay. That's a replay.
There you go. Oh, gets caught up behind Brody Steen and just
What happened there?
was not going to be able to get it
I
stopped
think we
in
need
time.
to see an onboard. So we're going to go back and watch this from Jake Maloney's perspective.
Yeah, I think just realised, oh, I'm not getting this stopped.
Weird sounds coming from that car.
very, very crackly.
So I'm wondering if his braking marker was just masked by the race on Oz car of Brody Steen just on the right hand side, so he just completely lost where he was on the racetrack.
It's very possible. We're seeing a TTR car chasing after a race on Oz car. On the other monitor, we've got a race on Oz car chasing after a TTR car. There's Sean Allen pressurising Kurt Stenberg.
And Jack Maloney is definitely keeping Brody Steen honest. Brody Steen down into turn 1 there. Different lines through turn 1 we saw from them. And ahead of them, you just saw Luke Rosella on the back of Zach Baker. So there's battles up and down the field. Hard to know really where to look. So Luke Rosella probably will be disappointed with 5th if he does indeed finish in 5th, having qualified on pole position for this race.
Awful start. Which I'm
Just
sure,
awful.
I'm sure that'll make him feel better
Yeah.
if he watches this back. But it
Well,
was.
he has won a race in this championship.
He
And
has.
that's more than you or I can say as he goes side by side. We'll try and find the pictures. And he's actually affected the overtake there on Zach Baker. So let's get a bit of a replay of that one, shall we?
That was through turn
We can
11.
make him feel a bit better about himself as he watches this back.
Absolutely.
Because he's no longer in 5th, he's in 4th. So let's see how that happens. Zach Baker. Wow, that was a good opportunistic move. Zach Baker had a little moment. And the door was hardly ajar, but Luke Rosella had no problem at all walking through it. So that was a good overtake there from Luke Rosella.
Shoved his foot into it. Zach Baker tried to slam the door. It bounced off his shoe. Wide open.
Do you reckon Sean Allen's thinking like he's got a chance of the win here?
I would think so, considering that the only second race we've had so far this season, Kurt Stenberg made a huge error on the last lap. I reckon Sean Allen would be thinking he's in with a chance. And even if that doesn't happen, he's right on the back of him as they come down the back straight and into turn 6. Sean Allen's smart enough not to try to throw it down the outside or the inside. Stays behind him going through the S's, and he is riding his right rear bumper. They're basically bump drafting along as they head on down towards turn 11. So this is getting mighty close between these two. I'm not sure if Kurt Stenberg is maybe fuel managing a tiny bit, something like that, but Sean Allen's tyres are older, but he seems to be driving a lot better.
He had the fastest final sector of the race on the previous lap, did Sean Allen, and that's the only sector of the racetrack that actually is not predominantly a straight. So that's the skill sector, is sector 3 and around Sandown.
Well, he does have the qualifying lap record.
He was
so
slower through the final sector of that lap, though. He's caught right back up on the brakes into turn 1, though, hasn't he?
going through the corners. Oh, as he has a little bit of a Larry moment coming onto the back straight, which might give Kurt Stenberg just enough space.
While that's happening, let's have a look at this battle. This is closed up. So this is Luke Rosella, who's just got past Zach Baker. Zach Baker now coming under fire from Brody Steen here and Jake Maloney, who had that mistake earlier on. So those two are very much trying to relinquish Zach Baker of 5th place. Meanwhile, back at the front, it has closed up again as they came through turn 6, 7, 8 and 9. It is now Kurt Stenberg by a nose. Still leading, of course, but Sean Allen closed right back up again. Hard to know exactly where to look.
3 laps remain once they cross the line.
Here's the other battle. We'll get you some picture-in-picture there so that you don't miss a thing.
The production quality just astounds me that sounded sarcastic.
Well, here we go. Sean Allen going down the inside of Kurt Stenberg. Let's give you a full-screen vision of this, because this is the battle for the lead. And Sean Allen trying to drive around the outside of turn 2. Gives him the inside for 3. But Kurt Stenberg with his nose up ahead through 4. He'll have the drive and gets back through. It's side by side. Sean Allen slots in behind.
Yeah, but he's going to have an immense tow all the way down into turn 6. Does he have the guts of Luke Rosella to try to throw it down the inside? He's definitely got the pace. He's up alongside as they come down the back straight. and they are wheel to wheel going into turn 6. Sean Allen down the inside.
Whoa!
A little bit of a touch.
Keeps
Looks
it on the track, over the curb.
Pretty tidy, no going across the grass. That was tidier than we've seen some clean laps without overtaking going for some drivers. So very well done for Sean Allen. And he's slotted into the lead, but Kurt Stenberg is not giving it up without a fight.
Oh, was there a bit of a serve there from Kurt Stenberg, or did Sean Allen just make a little bit of a mistake? A bit deep there. Kurt Stenberg wasn't able to effect an overtake. He's in the draft, so he'll have it go down into turn 1, I should think, and we'll start all over again. So Sean Allen, like a lion, dog with a bone, is trying to take his opportunities because he knows that wins in this championship are very, very hard to come by.
A lion dog with a bone indeed.
A lion dog with a bone.
As he's managed to hold onto it. No attempt from Kurt Stenberg through turns 1 through 4. And coming onto the back straight, nice and clean from both of them. So it's going to be the vice versa of the previous lap. Kurt Stenberg is going to have the run on Sean Allen going down the back straight into turn 6. Will he have the guts to throw it up the outside? It looks like it is almost exactly the same, picture perfect, as Kurt Stenberg on the inside. And they bump, they hit, and it manages to end up with Sean Allen somehow still in the lead.
Unbelievable. Side by side, they bumped through 6. That was 100% someone was going to be in the fence there, but somehow Sean Allen managed to sneak his nose up ahead before the braking zone at turn 9. Kurt Stenberg's going to have another dip here. He's got another opportunity.
1 lap to go.
So this is the penultimate lap. He's got to have a bit of a go down into turn 1. He'll have a few more opportunities if he doesn't get it done down there, but here he is. Is he too far back? He's on the anchors earlier than Sean Allen. We know how strong Sean Allen is under brakes. As they go through the first sector, it is Sean Allen, and he's going to be covering all of those apexes.
Yep, he is landing on every single piece of real estate that Kurt Stenberg wants his car to be in. Kurt Stenberg right on his rear bumper coming onto the back straight. No wheel spin or wild stuff from either of them, so it's going to be a nice clean run for both. Sean Allen goes immediately to the outside, wanting to, which becomes the inside for turn 6, so wanting to maybe scare Kurt Stenberg off. And
Kurt Stenberg's going to have a go down into turn 6, but it'll be a mighty brave man to stick his nose up there once again. They're going to go side by side. Kurt Stenberg's trying to get down the inside at 9 and manages to do so against all the odds. He was completely out of control, and Sean Allen put it in the fence. He's going to lose the podium. He's going to drop out of 3rd place. And Kurt Stenberg, in the unlikeliest way possible, is going to get his next win. There he is. So Colin Warwick wasn't that far behind him. There's Kurt Stenberg winning the race. What a battle there. Colin Warwick finishes in 2nd place. And here's Luke Rosella picking up the podium. Another last lap podium. Change of positions for Luke Rosella. Sean Allen ended up finishing in 7th place.
Oh, he'd be gutted, to state the obvious, as we've got Brody Steen and Zach Baker coming through in vice versa positions. So Zach Baker managed to beat Brody Steen out. Jake Maloney comes home in 6th, so still didn't break that top 5. Sean Allen in 7th, as you said. And it looks like Benjamin D'Alia coming home in 8th, Alex Cattle in 9th, and David Nedich rounding out the top 10.
This is the race winning overtake for Kurt Stenberg. Managed to get it done, and then a little bit too happy on the loud pedal. Sean Allen trying to get the lead back, and in doing so, there goes the podium and all of those positions that he fought so hard for. What gutting news there for Sean Allen. But, well, Kurt Stenberg goes from losing a race on the last lap last round to winning a race on the last lap this round.
Yep, so how fortunes can change. I like the idea of Sean, what gutting news for Sean Allen. Like, he's getting the news just now. He wasn't aware of it as it was happening.
Well, certainly as it was happening.
I hate to inform you, Sean Allen, you did not win the race.
The car is going around.
As we see Kurt Stenberg.
I feel for him. I really do.
Oh, no, I've been in that position myself. And it is never fun, especially not on the last lap, and especially not in the last sector of that last lap when you were looking so promising for the win. So Kurt Stenberg laying some incredible 11s all the way down, and not really 11s anymore as he spins
Question
around.
marks?
Question marks?
They're round.
Loops.
Whoa, what a finish, Mad Bird.
That woke us up.
It definitely did.
Not that we were bored before that, but my goodness.
It's always good racing Sandown, but then something like that happens and it just lights a fuse up under your ass.
And Sean Allen just showing that, you know, the qualifying lap record that he has is no fluke. He was putting the pressure on Kurt Stenberg on older tyres as well. So very, very good racing between those two for the last few laps. A damn shame for Sean Allen to lose out on even a podium.
It's the fastest lap from Kurt Stenberg. He did a 107.467, but it didn't eclipse the record set by Thomas McMillan last time we raced here. So that lap record of a 107.372 stands only by about a tenth of a second though, so they were close.
Can hang his toilet paper on that.
He'll be very happy with that, I should think. And it was a dominant performance by Thomas McMillan last time we came to Sandown, but tonight it was a dominant performance from Kurt Stenberg.
But he'd be very keen to have taken out both wins tonight.
Oh, absolutely. It wasn't looking like it was going to be the case when we started the final lap, though, was it?
No, absolutely not. Sean Allen, very, very unlucky to wind up not even on the podium. And Luke Rosella, who you were, as you were saying, he'll be pretty disappointed if he comes home in 5th.
Well, he didn't.
No, he didn't. He'll probably still be quite disappointed to come home in 3rd compared to his pole position, but, it's still a podium, which is 2 podiums for him, I believe, this season.
Well, just looking at the best lap he set in that race, it was a 108.1, and Kurt Stenberg's fastest lap was about 0.6 faster than that. So maybe he pulled it out in qualifying, but it didn't look like he quite had the race pace for Kurt tonight. And Colin Warwick too was in another league. It's Sean Allen deserves to be up there as well, but that's motorsport, as Kurt Stenberg says. We're just waiting to see whether some of the drivers join us in the chat afterwards to have a bit of an interview. But just recapping the results of tonight's race. In race 1, we had Kurt Stenberg taking victory from Colin Warwick and Sean Allen in 3rd place. That's probably representative of the outright race pace that we saw tonight from everyone. A bit of a mixed up race in race 2 with Kurt Stenberg getting that win from Sean Allen on the last lap, and Colin Warwick being the beneficiary of that, with Luke Rosella getting that final spot on the podium at the death.
Absolutely, it was a cracking race. Incredible racing between Kurt Stenberg and Sean Allen over a few different laps, but in the end, Sean Allen just chucked it into the fence, and Kurt Stenberg found himself with yet another trophy. That
move, though, as they were coming through 6, I mean, we'd seen the same move pulled with the positions swapped on previous laps, and it didn't quite. It somehow it always ended up with the car inside managing to get that move done against all the odds, because it's so easy when you're going through turn 6 to sort of wash out wide and to knock the car on the outside off the track. But they managed to do that cleanly on a number of occasions, and that even though they were fully out of control, Kurt Stenberg, I could see him completely left and right. He manages to then get the car stopped as they come down over the curbs into turn 9, somehow manages to get it stopped without pushing Sean off the track.
And you see some cars, without having to have the pressure of overtaking, weren't managing to keep it inbounds going through turn 6. So just goes to show how careful and skillful our drivers can be when they're overtaking each other like that.
Absolutely right. Still waiting to see if we get any drivers come and have a bit of a chat with us, but I guess while we're doing that, we'll just have a quick look at the calendar for the upcoming races in this championship. And you can see there, that is the calendar. We're following the Real Life Supercars calendar once again, with the first round having taken place 3 weeks ago on March the 2nd. Today, of course, round 2 in Sandown. The next round, in another 3 weeks' time, is at the Symmons Plains Raceway in Tasmania for the Tasmania Super Sprint.
I'm keen. It's always interesting. It's such a short track. It's under a minute lap times usually, and we usually see some very interesting stuff happening at that hairpin. So I'm very excited to see what sort of mess we see this time around.
Yeah, absolutely. If we get anywhere near the sort of grids that we've had for rounds 1 and 2, that'll be an absolutely fantastic
5-minute qualifying session around Symmons Plains.
My goodness.
It's going to be an absolute massacre.
I don't mind those 5-minute qualifying sessions.
I quite like them.
It's hectic. It's hard to keep up with what's going on. It's happening so quickly, but there are cars sometimes that don't get the lap that they're hoping for, and that way you end up with a bit of a mixed up grid.
We're just looking at some of the other stats that Live Races gives us. Top speed was Zach Baker with 267.5 kilometers. Best consistency, RSM Latino, 99.59. However, he also had the most incidents, tied with Instinct. And surprising no one, top climber was Jake Maloney with 13 positions gained.
So still feeling for a little bit of time, for a bit longer, to see if any drivers come and say hello. We're going to just check out the points as they stood at the beginning of the night, keeping in mind, of course, that these will have changed as a result of the races tonight. But Kurt Stenberg's definitely going to extend that lead at the top of the championship, ahead of Luke Rosella, with Luke Rosella only just getting the one podium tonight. Colin Warwick will move his way up as well with a 5th place. Sean Allen, well, if he got that win, that would put him right in the fight. But unfortunately, well, he did get the podium in race 1, but 7th place in race 2. That's going to drop him back. And it'll be interesting to see what that does to the teams' championships, because Race on Oz, although they burst out of the gates with an early lead, Synergy Sim Racing with Luke Rosella will certainly be coming back at them.
And ZB Racing are also ZB Racing also had some decent results on this occasion.
We're going to take you back to the action, because we've got a 3rd qualifying session underway right now. I tried very hard to find the schedule before tonight. As I mentioned, I think earlier in the broadcast, I only get home about 30 minutes before the start of the broadcast, and I could not find the schedule, and I had a feeling something like this might happen. Turns out we've got another race for you tonight.
Exciting!
So that will explain why our drivers didn't come in for a chat after that race, because they have another one to go.
Oh my goodness.
I'm actually quite pleased about this in a weird way.
Yeah, I was like, it felt like
I felt like I was wrapping us up, but well, yeah.
We've got a 10-minute qualifying session this time around, so they get a little bit longer than the 5 minutes they had for races 1 and 2.
If you're watching this back, Kurt and Colin, I'm sorry. I did a full prep for this one, but sometimes things don't go your way. But nonetheless, you're not missing any action. I probably, if I hadn't admitted that, it wouldn't have been made aware of by the audience. Fuck.
Yes.
So qualifying underway, 10 minutes as you said. That's luxurious, isn't it?
That is luxurious compared to the 5 minutes of hectic mayhem they had for races 1 and 2. I was thinking it was a little bit early. It's only 9 o'clock for us to be finishing up.
This is why we're having 5-minute qualifying sessions for race 1 and 2, because they're trying to fit in 3 races.
Absolutely. Why don't we have 5 minutes for the 3rd qualifying session then? Anyway, we've got Alex Cattle on screen at the moment. Once again, the first duck out of the pond. Not sure where that one came from, and I don't think he even is. I think we've got other people on the track.
Wouldn't the analogy work better if the ducks were sort of sitting on the bank as
getting into the
pits, and then they get into the pond?
Yeah, that would make a lot more sense.
So first duck in the pond, well, Colin Warwick has gone straight to the top of the pond in, what was that, 107.8? So we're still chasing those infamous lap records we keep talking about. So
we absolutely are.
The records are still held by all who had them at
Sean
the beginning
Allen
of the
and Thomas
night.
McMillan. Sean Allen with the qualifying record and Thomas McMillan with the race lap record. Still yet to be eclipsed. With
the qualifying record being not as quick as the race lap record, which is,
ironically,
as we say, it's an unusual statistic.
Unusual statistic.
It is an unusual statistic. So this is, Kurt Stenberg's been unbeaten tonight, but only just. Look at Sean Allen going straight to the top of the timing screen now. I think he's going to try and make amends here.
He has got his ears, nose, eyes, and mouth in so far with that second race, so he is definitely putting himself in a decent position to try to get that elusive win.
Here he is. He's actually up again on this lap. On the time that was already good enough for provisional pole, but he needs to be, because Colin Warwick's just surpassed him there.
It is. It's been quite a while since we've had such a tight fight for the pole position.
It's a toit fight.
A toit fight.
We do miss the Warrens, but it's definitely refreshing to not know who's going to end the session.
It's nice. It's nice not knowing who's going to have pole position, which was sort of a foregone conclusion when Dane Warren was around. And I mean, in fairness, Ethan Warren did keep him honest and stole a couple of pole positions off him.
Allen's given up on that lap to come back in. I think Colin Warwick might be on a cool down lap as well. We've lost a few viewers because I was wrapping this all up, but if you know anyone who switched off, tell them to keep watching because we've got another race tonight.
There's a third race. It surprised us all.
My apologies to everyone who who closed the stream if they miss out on this action. There's definitely more to come. Such is the folly of having multiple jobs and not a lot of time to prepare the stream. A lot of cars coming into the pits, so because of this 10-minute session, they've got a chance to sort of have a bit of a rest in between, gear up for that second second run at it.
They do indeed. It's not quite as... Yeah, Brody Steen going off through turn 1, but looks onto that big oval.
Let's have a bit of a look what's going on here.
Yep, just completely...
I was going to say there was an attempt, but there didn't look like much of one.
Not much of an attempt at all.
Meanwhile, on the other screen, as Brody Steen collects a fair bit of grass on his tyres, we've got a huge gaggle of cars coming out of the pits, including provisional pole sitter Colin Warwick.
Well, they've got 4 minutes and 18 seconds left on the clock, so now it's basically the qualifying sessions that they've had so far tonight, and they're all in a rush to get out there. Colin Warwick still ascendant by 0.02 of a second over Sean Allen.
Kurt Stenberg hasn't really shone in this session.
Troubled the pole position at all.
Well, 108.1, that's the time that has seen him into 5th place, but he's been in the 7s. In fact, he was well into the 7s in the previous race. Something about this track seems to promote better times in the race than it does qualifying sessions, because his qualifying time from the earlier race was, I believe, in the 107.7s, about that. Seems from memory.
Seems very much like a rhythm track. So I suppose after 18 laps, you've gotten yourself into a much better rhythm. You've worn off all your fuel by the end. You're probably matching your qualifying session times towards the end of the race. Just from pure comfort level at the track.
He's got another 2 or 3 tenths of a second to go to get to the kind of times that he was doing for qualifying 1 and qualifying 2, Kurt Stenberg. Colin Warwick, he's aiming to improve on this particular lap, as they all are. On this particular lap, this might not improve. Kurt Stenberg, let's see what he can do at the end of this lap.
Kurt Stenberg hoping not to improve on this particular lap.
Yeah, he's having the opposite of a dip.
He's having a rise.
Let's have a go here. 107.8. There you go. That's much more representative. But it's only improved his position by 1 spot. And look at that, Jake Maloney taking part in a qualifying session.
My goodness.
My eyes, do they deceive me?
Maybe he was saving it all for the surprise 3rd qualifying session that we didn't know about, and he's made a fool of us all.
Well, he's going to have a real dip. Let's see what Colin Warwick can do if he comes across the line.
Right, if we have Jake Maloney also at the front fighting for the podium positions, as Colin Warwick improves by another 2.5 tenths. My goodness.
7.5. That's half a tenth away from the qualifying record. Close. You can do it, Colin. You can do it.
You can do it.
Kurt Stenberg's on a flyer right now, 0.3 of a second up. So that's fast. That could be record pace for Kurt Stenberg. He needs to, because he's been dropped down to 5th by Luke Rosella. Lachlan Burke doing well, up in 3rd place. So quite a few times up there in contention right now. So let's see what Kurt Stenberg can do. Is this going to be record pace in a qualifying session from Kurt Stenberg? Not quite. 2nd place. So he lost a bit in that final sector.
Improved his personal best by 3 tenths, but it wasn't quite good enough. He's still half a tenth behind Colin Warwick, who holds onto that pole position for now. Bit wide on the exit of turn 1 for Kurt Stenberg. That might have been a track cut. Yeah, that seems messy as all get out. So I feel like this will not be a particularly quick lap time for Kurt Stenberg, and in fact it isn't. He's down by about a tenth on 1st place man.
Top 6 are all inside the 107s now, so the pace is hotting up.
And we are within 1 minute of the end of this qualifying session, so not much time left for people to get out there and do their thing.
So Kurt Stenberg's not really troubling the timing screen on this lap. Colin Warwick's just started a lap, so we'll see what he can do. Bit of a yellow flag going on in the region that Colin Warwick's driving into, and that is why Brap has had a bit of a problem, and that is going to be the end of Colin Warwick's qualifying session. So no record for Colin Warwick, but he is in provisional pole as it stands, so it may not matter to him. Let's see what happened to Brap.
Yep, looks like... Didn't he have an accident here?
Oh.
Well, yeah, I was gonna blame him, but I can't really blame him for that. He was on his roof.
He had no way of getting out of the way. Absolutely. He might have ruined Jack Maloney's lap as well. And that's Colin Warwick after, I think, in frustration, really, going into the wall at turn 6 as a result of that. So have we got any other potential pole nabbers on the track? Let's see what Kurt Stenberg's doing. I think he managed to start a lap just before the timing screens went down. Sean Allen's in
Sean
third.
Allen is also out there.
Well, Kurt Stenberg's not really fast enough at the moment. He's about a tenth or two down. Sean Allen coming down the back straight now. He's up marginally.
He's only...
He might have a chance of pipping Kurt here.
He's half a tenth up and he's half a tenth down on Kurt Stenberg. That's a very slow... Oh, nah, he's lost it.
His favourite corner.
Absolutely.
So he's backed out of it. Kurt Stenberg's backed out of it.
Doesn't look
Is there anyone else? Colin Warwick is in the pits, of course, after we saw what happened to his final attempts. And there doesn't seem to be anyone else from the top 5 in contention right now. They're all sort of slowly circulating around the racetrack. Alex Cattle's just finishing the lap. He's in 12th place. We'll see if he can improve. And he does. He finds his way up into 11th place. And that's qualifying. Colin Warwick on pole position from Kurt Stenberg. Sean Allen in 3rd, Lachlan Burke in 4th, and Luke Rosella in 5th. That's your top 5.
And Jake Maloney in 6th as well. So that's an interesting top 3 rows. Look forward to that, because they are all people that I could easily see fighting for podium positions. So I reckon that is going to be a tasty battle indeed.
It is a tasty battle indeed. Looking forward to it. So that's... when they're given a bit more time, you see a slightly different order. Colin Warwick going to the top, so it's Kurt Stenberg, if memory serves me, in race 1. So that will be the order. So, I'm going to talk about something. No, I'm not. I'm going to have a break. We'll see you after the break.
See if I can find...
Welcome back, everyone, to warm up for the final race. Colin Warwick is the only car circulating right now. We've got a few other cars actually starting to make their way onto the circuit, but happy as Larry, Colin Warwick on pole position, and he'll be aiming to make 2 podiums into 1 win for 3 podiums, including a win.
Absolutely. It's a very, very spicy top three rows we've got. Colin Warwick, Kurt Stenberg, Sean Allen, Lachlan Burke, Luke Rosella, Jake Maloney, all of them being men I could see easily getting a podium.
Good to see Jake Maloney qualifying. We can sort of actually see his pace now. Oh, excuse me.
Oh, we've both had a bit of the burps, I think.
Oh, yeah, I believe you found something.
I have. It is under main series event info.
Why couldn't I find that earlier?
Right, so I can confirm that race 3 is also 18 laps.
How far down is that?
So it is there. So underneath Supercars discussion.
I don't have it.
That's good.
We've got main series discussion. I've got no main series event info.
That bodes well. Anyway, we have finished the warm-up session here. And we are ready for some action for race number 3, the surprise race.
Why do some of the channels not show up?
Snuck up on us like a librarian.
They have. So let's have a bit of a reminder of the racetrack that we have so graciously accepted into our lives for the last 2.5 hours.
Please, have I told you about my Lord and Saviour, Sandown Raceway? With qualifying records still uneclipsed by Sean Allen with a 107.447. That was back in 2019. We did not race it last year. Aha.
No, we didn't. So the records that you see on screen there, they stand uneclipsed thus far tonight. The qualifying record isn't going to be eclipsed tonight, so we are waiting to see whether the race lap record can, but 107.372, that's faster than the qualifying record, as we've mentioned tonight, so it's going to be a tall order for these races tonight to do that.
Yeah, I can't see anybody eclipsing Thomas McMillan's lap record during the race, but I suppose we'll have to wait and see. They got pretty close during the previous race, especially Sean Allen and Kurt Stenberg, who were tearing strips off each other at the end in a friendly way. And I very much look forward to seeing if they can continue that sort of battling in this third race. 15 runners. So we've lost a couple, but still a very decent grid. And very much looking forward to seeing what sort of action we can get this time around. It's been an action-packed 2 races before this. And hopefully this one does not disappoint.
So we'll be using these guys shortly. Those are the lights for the start of the race.
Love it.
And the grid is more or less ready to go. Just a couple of drivers left to grid up, and it's good to see that we've retained most of the field for the third race. We nearly lost the commentary team, but we've got 15 of the 20 or so drivers that we started with tonight, so that's a good strike rate going into what in some parts of the country is quite late at night. Closing in on 10 o'clock.
I'll be honest, I was like, just that no one's going to hop in stairs, just throw it in, and then we would have closed the stream, and then we wouldn't have had the third race. So, you know, your stay-tunedness paid off in the end.
My stay-tunedness. Well, you went through the grid in race 1, I went through the grid in race 2. We'll give you guys we'll give Madbird the honours of going through the grid for race 3.
Yep, so Colin Warwick takes out the pole position for the second time tonight.
Doesn't he?
And Kurt Stenberg coming in second place.
He's pleased with tonight's events.
He absolutely is. Sean Allen in
not.
third. No, he with a shocking last lap, last race out. So hopefully a not shocking lap at the end of this one. What the hell am I talking about? Lachlan Burke in fourth.
Not a Burke at all.
With Luke Rosella right behind him.
Not a Rosella at all.
In sixth place we have Jake Maloney.
Great to see him qualify.
Yeah, it is. Behind him we have Zach Baker.
And he's not a cook.
No, indeed not. Brody Steen right behind him in eighth.
Mm-hmm.
In ninth place we have Benjamin D'Alia.
Super 2 champion.
Absolutely, well done to Benjamin D'Alia. David Nadich in 10th.
Mm-hmm. Good job.
Hopefully doesn't get flung over a fence on this occasion. Alex Cattle in 11th. With Instinct in 12th. Steve Warwick in 13th. Father of Colin, as we have to say every single time we mention Steve Warwick's name. Behind him is RSM Latino.
I'm sure he aspires not just to be that, the father of Colin Warwick. I'm sure there are other strings to his bow.
Yeah, but that's the string that we're aware of.
Yes, absolutely.
And so we'll draw it as much as possible.
Please, if there are any other strings you'd like us to talk to on comms, Steve, do mention them.
In 15th, we've got Brap, who had a very messy qualifying and caused Colin Warwick to have to abandon a lap. Hopefully, does not happen on this occasion. And we do not have any Aiden Styles, or Aiden Sykes, sorry.
So his fans, unfortunately, will not get to see a race 3 from him. Colin Warwick, I don't think he'll be too disappointed with not getting to set his fast lap in the end of qualifying because he's on pole position.
Michael Zavalari very generously offered to jump into comms and run through the grid, but I think we managed to fumble our way through it quite well, so
yeah, we did.
Appreciate it.
The engines are rising, and we're going to get going one more time here in Sandown in round 2. Another front row drag race, and this time it's a pretty even start between Kurt Stenberg and Colin Warwick as they go through towards turn 1. It's Colin Warwick on the inside. Kurt Stenberg gets a great run around the outside, which will give him the inside for turn 2. He's clear before they even get there. Behind them, Sean Allen has got Lachlan Burke behind him. So a good battle there as Colin Warwick fights back into turn 4, but isn't able to affect the overtake.
Sean Allen right on the back of Colin Warwick now with Lachlan Burke. Basically, they're nuts to butts, those three. There is barely a cigarette paper's width between them as we see Kurt Stenberg with just another incredible start. He has shown that he is able to start here very, very, very well and always win.
Oh, the cones go flying up in the air as they go through turn 6 there.
Take out some of the signage.
Look at Jake Maloney going down the inside of Sean Allen there, so he's trying to battle over 4th and 5th place. I think he's ended up losing out a little bit of ground there to Lachlan Burke as they all file through. Oh, and he's gone into the back of him, I reckon. Lachlan Burke and Jake Maloney in the fence.
This is why Jake Maloney does not qualify. He is now down into 11th, down into 12th. Very, very messy there from Jake Maloney and Lachlan Burke. Lachlan Burke managed to get out of it pretty much unscathed. He is in 5th place, just behind Luke Rosella.
We're going to catch a replay on board from Jake Maloney. So this was from coming out of turn 6, that huge dive there down the inside of Lachlan Burke. And then Lachlan Burke gets the better run out of turn 9. And now what happens here? We're going to see...
Has to check up because Lachlan Burke broke a little bit more than he was expecting, I think.
It's hard to blame anyone other than Jake Maloney there. Yeah. So that's a bit of a shame. That's put him down to 11th place, so he's got it all to do now. He probably would have been further up if he'd started from 15.
Probably. Yeah, rear-ending cut usually at fault, says the police. Colin Warwick is very close behind Kurt Stenberg. We see this huge train with Jake Maloney down in 10th, so he's
already made up that spot.
Yep.
So he's got Benjamin Dahlia up in 9th place to overtake next. So hopefully he's not carrying, hopefully Jake Maloney that is not carrying any damage from the contact with the wall, and hopefully Lachlan Burke isn't carrying any damage either. Back at the front, Colin Warwick chasing down Kurt Stenberg for the lead of this race. Sean Allen eager to make amends for that race 2 final lap crash.
Yeah, if Sean Allen can bring out the sort of pace that he had during those last 4 or 5 laps in the previous race, he is very much in with a shot of taking this lead. And it just seems like he needs to work his way into it or something, because he was there or thereabouts early in the second race, but then it wasn't until the very end that he managed to actually mount the challenge. And at the moment, he's sort of there, but he's just a little bit further back, just those few car lengths further back compared to Colin Warwick, and doesn't seem to be able to put the pressure on.
Ooh, a bit of a lock up there. So Colin Warwick tends to opt for the early pit stop based on the first 2 races we've seen tonight. Kurt Stenberg likes to run it a little bit longer. So will they do the same thing this time? I think that will probably work out for Colin Warwick if he finds himself sandwiched in between these cars when we come towards the time when it's right to pit, because I think his gaps to the cars ahead were bigger in race 1 and 2 when he came into pit, and he managed to make up a fair bit of ground doing that. So if he can just hang on here, then the undercut might be very effective. We've got all sorts of action going on the other screen as Jake Maloney's trying to make amends for his earlier sins.
Absolutely, he's right behind Benjamin Dahlia and David Nenadich, fighting over those 9th and 8th positions. And it looks like he's going to have a decent tow behind Benjamin Dahlia going down the back straight. Cars are all still quite close together, like they're all fitting onto that back straight, so we haven't had any big accidents as yet. No one has dropped any laps.
They're all dropping wheels off the grass there.
It's very true, as it looks like Jake Maloney hasn't managed to get that position done on Benjamin Dahlia, and David Edwards just managing to hang on to that 8th place as well.
Back at the front, here is Colin Warwick coming under a bit of pressure from Sean Allen now, maybe dropping a few car lengths from Kurt on that lap, but it just changes corner to corner. So here is Sean Allen just looking to the inside. I think Colin had a little bit of a look to the inside too.
Looked like a little bit of a
managing
wiggle
the
from
pace.
Sean Allen going into the braking zone and coming out of the braking zone.
Leading the race with his mates. This is Kurt Stenberg's happy place right now. He's loving life in the series that he and his friend Colin Warwick run. Doesn't get too much better than that. Sean Allen trying to spoil that party, of course, right now.
He's right on the back of Colin Warwick. I said he wasn't close enough to put pressure on him. Now he is. Now he definitely is. And three of them looking for a opportunity through turn 6 that is not going to arrive. As we see Jake Maloney going down the inside of Benjamin Dahlia at turn 6 in that picture-in-picture and managing to get that job done cleanly. Just.
Good job there. So he's going to try and dispatch Zach Baker, David Nenadich next. 2 ZB cars, not exactly line of stern, but occupying 7th and 8th place. So if Jake Maloney can get past David Nenadich, he'll have the other ZB car to contend with a few seconds up the road. So here we go, Sean Allen maybe having another look down the inside here. Colin Warwick, I think, had to think about whether he would turn in there because he wasn't sure if Sean Allen's car would be occupying that space.
Yeah, it looks like he's having to worry a little bit too much about defensive driving, and it's giving Kurt Stenberg just another car length or so. And Sean Allen right on the back of Colin Warwick as they come onto the back straight, so he might have an opportunity to have a go into turn 6, which we saw he is more than capable of doing. Did it on a few occasions with Kurt Stenberg cleanly, but not quite close enough on this occasion. Can he maybe do a Kurt Stenberg and throw it up the inside at turn 9?
Ooh, a bit off the track there for Colin Warwick.
This corner.
And that's Jake Maloney on the picture making his way past Zach Baker. So he's done a good job there, but Zach Baker's going to try and fight back down the inside of 9 and muscles his way to the inside, but in the end has to relinquish position as Jake Maloney holds on.
That is David Edwards.
Beg your pardon, the Zach Baker teammate Zach Baker's teammate, David Nenadich.
You're talking about the team, not the driver, right?
Exactly, the Zach Baker car.
Zach Baker car.
Let me finish.
Yes,
I was going to add the cars in that sentence retrospectively. Car. They're chasing each other across the main straight there, so Jake Maloney trying to break that toe. Car. Trying to break that toe, but David Nenadich is wearing steel cap shoes, so his toe is safe. Jake Maloney.
Sean Allen right on the back of Colin Warwick on our picture once again as we start the 7th lap. This has been the same for the last few laps, but I think Colin Warwick's getting just enough of a tow from Kurt Stenberg just ahead that Sean Allen is not able to mount an attack through this turn 6. But he does seem to be a little bit stronger through here. We talk all the time about how good he is on the brakes. He catches right up going through turn 9 here.
If I was them, there would be a sharp intake of breath every time I went through turn 6, because they just always look like they're on the verge of losing control through there.
Sean Allen basically bumping against Colin Warwick's rear bumper as they went through turns 11 and 12 there.
Isn't he just?
And he's going to have a bit of a run down into turn 1, but we've seen he just does not have quite enough pace to be able to have a go down the inside. And this time it looks a little bit different actually. Colin Warwick goes to defend the inside a little bit late. Sean Allen might be able to swap it up the inside. No, he's not able to on this occasion.
This is giving Kurt Stenberg a little bit of breathing space here as Colin Warwick goes totally off the track there at turn 2. Didn't even look like making the corner. Committed very early to the grass.
Yeah, so that'll be a little bit of less grip on his tyres. A little bit of less grip.
Let's see if Sean Allen can. Well, that's just a gift. That's going to Kurt Stenberg. Oh, hey mate, got you this. It's 9/10 of a second. Enjoy.
Well, maybe I was a little bit too hasty when I thought the second race of tonight was the last race. I said that Kurt Stenberg had an error the last lap of the last race, last round. Maybe you'll have an error at the last lap of the last race this round as we see Jake Maloney go around.
Oh my goodness.
On our other monitor. That is at turn 9, I want to say.
That is turn 9, yeah. And he's going to have to let the
no.
entire field almost go past. He's going to jump in ahead of Zach Baker, who, why is he down that far? Has he made a pit stop?
We wonder why Jake Maloney doesn't pit, and considering how this race, why Jake Maloney doesn't qualify, sorry, and considering how this race has gone for him so far, I think we're learning why he doesn't qualify.
Well, that's Zach Baker there. I'm assuming that he didn't...
I believe that was David Nanadich.
Sorry.
Fighting with... That's the Zach Baker
the second
car.
time I've got him wrong.
That's the Zach Baker car.
Misidentified. Now, Colin Warwick is in the pit lane, and Jake Maloney, as we just saw, of course, pitting. There's Luke Rosella as well, and Alex Cattle. So that's the 4 cars currently in the pit lane. So once again, Colin Warwick opting for the early pit stop.
Yep. Lap earlier than, or lap later than last time, it looks like. I think he pit on lap 8 on the previous occasion.
Jake Maloney's still in the pits.
Might have some damage.
He's just making his way out now. So the order is changing rapidly as we're going through all this. So that's Colin Warwick on your screen right now. So he's slotted down into 9th. About 36 seconds adrift. So we wait to see whether Kurt Stenberg responds. And Zach Baker did indeed tour the pit lanes, so that was the reason why he's down. So he didn't have an error or anything like that.
Had a very early pit stop.
Yeah, so he pulled the trigger a little bit early on that one, but it might work out for him. We will see.
RSM Latino into the pits. Kurt Stenberg, and it looks like Sean Allen into the pits as well. So Kurt Stenberg now alone out front.
Doing the same thing that he did before.
Going long.
There is Sean Allen.
Like long hat. Sean Allen leaving the pits.
Lachlan Burke and RSM Latino joining him in the pit lane as well. So
Sean Allen, has he got the undercut done on Colin Warwick?
He had to do that. He had to react to Colin because he's got the undercut in all of the other races that he's done, and even then it was too late. Colin Warwick, very good at doing this undercut, but the trouble he's had in the previous 2 races has been hanging on to it. So he manages in this case to do so. So great job there from Colin Warwick.
Yeah, Sean Allen, those tyres just not quite warm enough as Colin Warwick able to hit those apexes a lot harder.
Kurt Stenberg's continued without pitting for another lap.
So he reckons that's the correct strategy. He's going to continue doing that.
Well, it's going to give him fresher tyres towards the end.
That
by
didn't
the
seem
tune
to
of
matter
2 or
last
3
time
laps.
around.
It's true. It was weird. They seem to be, even in the first stint of this race, clawing back time on Kurt Stenberg. I don't know whether Kurt Stenberg was just managing his pace and trying not to go over the top. We've got a couple more cars in the pits now. Benjamin Dahlia, Steve Warwick, and David Netovich.
The way you said Benjamin Dahlia's name just then sounded like you're talking about 3 people. Ben, Jim, and Dahlia.
Ben Jim? I didn't say Jim Dahlia, did I?
You said Ben, Jim, and Dahlia.
Jury's out.
The jury is not out in any way, shape or form. Michael Zalavari in the chat can confirm to me that he said Ben, Jim, and Dahlia.
The judge or the executioner.
Kurt Stenberg still circulating, not having hit 35 and a bit seconds ahead of Colin Warwick. So I wonder if Colin Warwick will undercut. Looks like Kurt Stenberg's saying enough. Into the pits he goes.
And Brody Steen's going to assume the lead of the race unless he too pits, and he does indeed pit, so he will not assume the race. Lead.
He will assume the race is occurring.
Well, I will assume the race is occurring, unlike I did about 30 minutes ago.
Oh, Lord.
Kurt Stenberg hits his
We run a
marks.
professional operation here.
In 3rd place, Colin Warwick. There he goes. Still ahead of Sean Allen after effecting that undercut. Kurt Stenberg's on the move already though, so I reckon he's going to retain this lead. It's going to be close though. Colin Warwick's just coming down the pit straight now. In fact, I think they're both going to get him. Oh, I spoke too soon.
Colin Warwick.
Yes, Sean Allen no, because he's a lot further back.
No, Sean Allen's got it as well. He's definitely through.
Oh, I should have stuck with my guns there.
So Kurt Stenberg down into 3rd with Luke
fresher
Rosella
tyres
right behind him. Much fresher tyres.
He'll be happy that he didn't relinquish that spot to Luke Rosella, who looked like he was having a bit of a go there. We're just looking at it from the replay.
Luke Rosella very close behind Kurt Stenberg as they came onto the back straight.
As they came up to turn 4, if we go and just catch a replay of Luke Rosella here, just for a moment, looked like he was going to have a little bit of a look.
Just a little bit of how you doing, how you going. Keep an eye on me in your side mirror, please.
Now it's crucial for Luke or for Kurt here to keep Luke behind him if he wants to win this race, because he doesn't want to waste any time. He's got 6 laps left, but he has fresh tyres, so he needs to make the most of that.
He also can't afford to waste time defending against Luke Rosella.
Yeah.
He needs to put him out of his mind and concentrate on putting in some banker laps.
Well, this is totally flopped on its head what we had in race 1.
Yes. Not sure what happened next to me in the commentary box just then, but suffice to say I'm scared and aroused. Luke Rosella right behind Kurt Stenberg as they go through. So it looks like
I'm confident and unaroused.
On these fresh tyres, Kurt Stenberg is not able to really pull back any of that gap to Sean Allen and Colin Warwick ahead, and he's only just managing to fend off Luke Rosella right behind him.
Is he?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a mixed up race, that's definitely for sure. Colin Warwick, eager to convert his qualifying pace into a race win. Sean Allen trying to make amends for what happened in race 2. Kurt Stenberg eager to keep his 100% record intact. And Luke Rosella trying to add to his win tally. 4 different storylines.
4 drivers all very keen on that top step of the podium, but none of them closer than Colin Warwick and Sean Allen, who is right behind the race leader, going around the outside of turn 1 or turn 2. That looked like an early turn in. Gets
my goodness.
Pushed wide a little bit by Colin Warwick. Does he still have the pace to get up the inside? Looks like he does.
Oh my goodness.
Little bit of bargy bang boom.
Oh my damn.
Oh my goodness. And Kurt Stenberg is going to say thank you very much and slip up the inside.
It's going to be 3 wide as they bump and budge their way all the way down the final straight. Colin Warwick somehow has managed to be the beneficiary of this after going onto the grass through there. Kurt Stenberg tried to get the position on both of them. In the end, Sean Allen's going to hold on by the looks of it, and Luke Rosella almost looked like he was going to get past the pair as they went 3 wide, but it's Sean Allen by a whisker. Kurt Stenberg will have a little bit of a go in there. Nightmares for Sean Allen as they go through that corner, and somehow they'll make it through in one piece.
5 laps to go, and my goodness, 4 laps to go, and this is hotted up very, very much so. Colin Warwick's advantage has evaporated through that last sector, showing the age on his tyres. He just does not have the grip through the corners, whereas the rest of them have all, despite defending and bumping and barging, have managed to catch back up to him before they hit turn 1, and Sean Allen right on the back of the race leader.
So just looking towards the live timing screen to confirm when Luke Rosella pitted. That was lap 8, so he also has old tyres. Even though he does, it doesn't seem to be affecting his pace because the guys ahead are battling so much, it's keeping him in the fight. So the newest tyres belong to Kurt Stenberg, so he theoretically should have the advantage here. And Sean Allen's trying to break that toe as they go down to 6. They're going to try and go side by side. No, I think Kurt Stenberg's just playing the easy game. Both of them go wide up ahead. Kurt Stenberg might have a chance here. Colin Warwick's getting served off into the grass, and that is 1 leader, 2 leaders. Sean Allen, for the briefest of moments, was in the lead, and Kurt Stenberg swings through to take 2 spots in one go.
Was there contact? It looked like Colin Warwick just completely outbroke himself going through turn 9. Sean Allen looked like he was trying to do the Kurt Stenberg special up the inside at turn 9.
There's definitely contact. We're going to catch a bit of a replay here, so this might be... Well, it's not really anything you can do to undo what's done... What's happened to Colin Warwick, but this is the replay from Sean Allen. I mean, Colin Warwick was wide, but Sean Allen maybe could have got out of it a bit earlier.
Yeah, that was a couple of bumps there.
And there goes Kurt Stenberg swinging through into lead. So that's probably the best view of that incident, and the result of which now Colin Warwick is 4 seconds adrift. So
won't be happy.
Pitted as early as he did, 1 lap before Sean Allen, I don't think he's going to have the pace to fight for the lead anymore. So Sean Allen might have a little bit of blood on his hands. We'll see what happens out of that. But the result of which, Kurt Stenberg and Sean Allen, round 2 for them. But Luke Rosella very much in this fight. So we are currently looking at 2 of the guys who were on the podium in race 2. Luke Rosella and Kurt Stenberg, and Sean Allen...
Who should have been on the podium.
Should have been on the podium, that's right.
And it looks like Sean Allen's managing to keep pace with Kurt Stenberg, just as he was last time around, despite the difference in age of their tyres. That toe in the straights is just enough for Sean Allen to catch up. So maybe Sean Allen's just very good at looking after his tyres. We talk about how good he is on the brakes. He never seems to lock up. And maybe he's just very good at looking after those old tyres. Because he's caught back up to Kurt Stenberg. And he's going to have a decent run down the back straight. We've seen these two aren't shy about going side by side through turn 6. And
yeah, there's a fair bit of a gap, though, compared to last race between Kurt Stenberg and Sean Allen. We'll see how that closes up, though. It always seems to close up through that final sector. We mentioned that in the previous race when Sean Allen was catching up to Kurt Stenberg, he tended to be quite quick through this final sector. And I think Kurt Stenberg was dealing with a little bit of understeer through turn 6. I may be wrong, but that's what it looked like to me.
Yep, on the previous last race of the night. Sean Allen just seems to be able to catch up through this last sector where I guess there's a lot more braking. But you would expect the fresh tyres to be working wonders through there. And indeed, Kurt Stenberg does have a bit more of a lead as they come out onto the start-finish straight to start the last lap of the race and of the night, for sure this time, as Kurt Stenberg comes into turn 1 with a healthy lead over Sean Allen, who might just be putting the cue in the rack a little bit and thinking, look, I'm just going to bring home this second place. I don't want to lose the podium just like I did the last lap of the previous race.
It still would be a solid night. 2 podium finishes for Sean Allen if he brings this one home.
I wouldn't complain. We lost Jake Maloney at some stage.
Yeah, well, we did mention that.
Did we?
No, we didn't.
We mentioned him spinning out a few times.
Yes.
Yes. This is why he doesn't qualify.
He didn't cover himself in a whole lot of glory tonight,
Covered himself in fecal matter.
Well, in this race, I should say. He did okay in the earlier races, clawing his way up from the back of the field. It's actually quite a decent finishing rate for 15 runners, 14 of them coming home. It looks like we've got a bit of a battle between David Nenovich and Steve Warwick for the last place there. I don't know why David Nenovich is that far down, though. He's normally inside the top 5, if not the top 10.
Kurt Stenberg crosses the line to win his 3rd race on the trot. And Sean Allen has to settle for 2nd, but I'd imagine he won't be too upset about that.
Luke Rosella picking up another podium. This one a little bit less fortuitous.
Colin
he
Warwick
definitely put himself in the right place there. You're right, Colin Warwick finishing 4th. Zach Baker rounding out the top 5.
Zach Baker in the Zach Baker car. And Brody Steen coming home in 6th. Lachlan Burke in 7th with Benjamin Dahlia in 8th.
Your jury's not leaping to your defence there.
No,
Instinct
he's not.
In 9th.
He's gone very silent. He's
RS
too busy focusing on e-chat features.
M. Latino in 10th place. And then Alex Cattle in 11th. Brapp finishes in 12th place. David Netovich in 13th. And Steve Warwick rounds out our grid of 14 finishes with Jake Maloney the only retirement.
Bloody gripping last few laps there, says, just like in the previous race.
Yeah, it's great to see all of this high octane action occurring, but Kurt Stenberg is going to round out a perfect night from his point of view. He's
scything through the field as they go around on their cool-down lap.
Someone tell him the race is over. So well over 300 points to start the night. He should be well over 600 points now. And his closest championship rival going into tonight was Luke Rosella. Luke Rosella is not going to have done his championship campaign too much harm because he's managed to finish on the podium on 2 out of 3 races. But he hasn't eaten into that lead at all. So a good job by Luke Rosella, but an even better one from Kurt Stenberg.
Absolutely. And a very decent showing from Colin Warwick, must be said. 2 podiums, and probably unlucky not to get a 3rd, and indeed might get a 3rd depending on possible penalties for Sean Allen.
I bet he'd be gutted with the way that finished, because he was
3
definitely
podiums
on for a win there. He was definitely trying something each race with that undercut. It got in the track position, but maybe just struggled a little bit to hold on to it.
Definitely, I would say, struggled a little bit to hold on to it.
I was being...
You're being generous.
I was being diplomatic.
That's one word for it.
That's right. So that concludes our action of 3 nights of racing. We are starting to be joined by a couple of our podium sitters, Madbird.
Indeed. This time around, it's happened.
Indeed it has. So let's talk to the championship leader and 3-time race winner for tonight. 4-time race winner for 2021. What a terrific start to your season, Kurt.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, you can't really go too much better than that, except for that spin at Bathurst. It's pretty much been an ideal start.
Yeah, so I mean the only blemish, and you still finished second on that race where you had a blemish. So talk us through tonight's races, though. It wasn't always going your way. That second race, the battle with Sean Allen, was mega, and that last lap pass was something to watch.
Yeah, I must admit, he had exceptional pace at the end of that race. I was actually going to try and do what I did in that race and go long, and I had to pit to undercut him because I thought he's gonna get me here because I saw the pace of him. And then, yeah, that second stint he managed to get me, but I know the draft's really strong here, so I was confident I could still get him back and managed to do that. So that was really good. But yeah, good racing.
Absolutely. That second race, you got 2 in 1 as they were all fighting down into turn 9.
Yeah, race 3, you mean?
Yeah, that's right. Did I say second? I meant third race.
Yeah.
I'm all 6s and 7s tonight.
Yeah, I deliberately pitted late in that one because I saw that the other guys had gone early, and I thought, oh, they're going to squabble as soon as they come out of the pits. I'm just going to stay out here a bit. I know I was going to be slower, and they were going to get the undercut on me, but I thought I'll come out, I'll have fresh tyres, and I know from the last race it's not that hard to pass as long as I've got better drive than them. And yeah, it didn't even matter in the end because Sean got in the back of Colin and he had him off. So from what I saw, so but yeah, kind of a bit of a silly move on my part a lap before on Sean, but I was desperate. I knew that I had to make the passes while I had the grip.
Well, that you did. So congratulations, Kurt, on a terrific night of racing from your point of view, and an extension of your championship lead.
Thanks, mate. See you at Tasmania. That's another strong one for me, so hopefully we can keep it up before we get to some of my bogey tracks.
Can't wait. Madbird, who have you got with you next?
I've got Sean Allen, who had an up and down night, I think would be fair to say. Would you say, Sean?
Hang on, there we go. Yeah, that's a pretty fair assessment. Not one of my best.
But pretty happy with your 2 podium finishes, and probably very unlucky that it wasn't 3 or 2 podiums and a win. That last lap spin while you were trying to take that position back from Kurt Stenberg, that must have been very frustrating in the cockpit.
Yeah, it was pretty annoying. Don't know how I gassed it up and lost it there, but yeah, it was pretty frustrating, and I've sort of continuing the trend of where I start every season like crap and eventually try and pull it back. But other than that, this night's racing was hard and it was actually fantastic.
Yeah, every time you went through turn 6 side by side with someone, my heart was in my mouth, but you always seemed to manage to come out of it facing the right way. Is that something that you had to practice heading in to going side by side through turn 6, or it just sort of comes to you as it happens?
No, it just sort of comes to you. It's once you've got, I guess, good enough racecraft, you don't really need to practice that sort of stuff. You can sort of just do it on the day. But yeah, there was a couple moments that were very hairy. That's why I redressed race 1. I thought that was entirely my fault on Cole, but the race 3 one, when I took him out, he was sort of a bit messy into the corner and I was on the brakes already, so I couldn't really do much. But we'll see how it's looked at by the stewards, I guess.
Yeah, we did notice that one. And I was going to ask about the first race, so we were wondering if you were running out of fuel or something at the end. You were addressing that position to Colin, you said? Yeah,
I think I sort of wasn't really watching his brake lights, went to brake at my own brake marker, which was a little bit deeper, and yeah, just tagged him and knocked him wide. So I thought if I couldn't catch Kurt, I'd definitely redress that.
Oh, well, it's very good sportsmanship from you, and a pretty decent night regardless with your 2 podiums. I think you're selling yourself a bit short saying that you're starting the season off badly. You're doing quite well with your 2 podiums tonight, and again, unlucky that you didn't make it 3. And some excellent racing for us all to watch.
Yeah, thanks, mate. If I can't win a race, I'm hoping to give you a good show.
You always do. Thanks, Sean.
Thanks, mate.
Moving on to Colin Warwick. 2 second places and unlucky not to get a podium in the third race. Unfortunately, they're probably not the way you wanted to end the night, but definitely showed your pace with a pole position as well, Colin Warwick.
Oh, for me, mate, it doesn't really matter. I had a fucking ball. Sorry for swearing, but yeah, no, that was good fun.
It's good to see the passion.
Yeah, no, it was just good to try different strategies and all that kind of stuff, and some worked, some didn't. I tried different tyre pressures and spring rates, and yeah, nothing seemed to work for me tonight, but it did in qualifying 3 there, so went with that in race 3, and it just, yeah, did not work at all. Just wanted to rotate on itself on exit and stuff, so...
Right. Well, we saw that you seemed to be pretty good at getting the undercut throughout the races tonight. You seemed to be pretty fast on people as they were coming out of the pits, so that was definitely a strategy that was giving you track position.
Yeah, the car felt really good on cold tyres compared to everyone else, so I think that's just where I made up a lot of the time. And then, yeah, once the tyre life kicked in, it was, yeah, just no hope, especially under brakes. The car just wanted to fire itself into a fence, so... But yeah, no, good night of racing. Thanks, Sean, for redressing race 1. Yeah, that was good sportsmanship, and I know I'd do the same, so thanks to him. But yeah, other than that, it was a really good night.
Absolutely. Good haul of points as well, and I guess even in the race where it didn't go your way, still finishing 4th, that's not too bad at all.
Yeah, happy with that. Better start than last year, that's for sure.
Fantastic. All right, well, Madbird, the last podium sitter we've got for tonight is Luke Rosella, and I believe you've got him next to you in virtual terms.
Yeah, I've got him right next to me. Very, very nice night for you, Luke, with your 2 podiums. You must be pretty happy with that outcome.
Yeah, it's, really it's all about damage limitation. I haven't got my usual wheel with me. It broke, so I've had to revert to an older one. That's yeah, I think pace was all right. Sort of went wrong direction with the setup though. I was lacking a lot on quarter exit, and that's where everyone else was sort of gaining a time. But yeah, it's fun watching the guys in front of me have a battle while I was in the box seat. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with the 2 podiums, and it's a shame I couldn't qualify for race 1 as well. But no, I'm happy.
Yeah, we did notice that. Was that why you were trying to sort your wheel issue or something that you weren't able to qualify for the first race?
No, the game AMS has been AMS. The game crashed, so
Classic AMS.
Yeah. Classic AMS. That's right.
You must have had a bit of fun with Jake Maloney starting at the back though.
Yeah, it's a bit chaotic getting through the pack. It's just quite hard to overtake, for me at least, because my car was absolutely shocking out of a corner exit. So people were just getting good runs, and I couldn't really do anything because the car was pretty good through the quarters. But no, it's pretty fun, and we'll see what I could do next round at Tasmania.
Absolutely, yeah, decent effort with your 2 podiums, especially on a unfamiliar wheel. Very well done, Luke.
Thanks, mate.
Well, that rounds out all of our podium sitters. Congratulations to all of them. Good to see some different faces in all 3 races. That was an unintentional rhyme.
Look at you, you're a poet, and you
I don't
weren't
even
aware of
realise
it.
it.
Yeah.
We went 2 different ways there on strategy. Great night of racing all around. Madbird, absolutely loved it.
Yeah, fantastic. A little bit. How's your mother? How's your father? How's your extended family from us on a couple of occasions? But I think we pulled it together quite well.
Everything went sort of so unexpectedly well in the first round in Bathurst. We kind of let our guard down tonight, but nonetheless, we still brought you some terrific action. Everything was working perfectly when we needed it to during the hot moments of the races. Fantastic
Racing as well in all 3 races, so we were treated to some excellent finishes, especially between Kurt and Sean. That race 2 was heart and mouth stuff for the entire last 5 or 6 laps, so thank you very much, as always, to all of our drivers for putting on a fantastic show.
That's right. Well, that just leaves 3 weeks now till the next round. On the 13th of April, we're going down to the map of Tassie and racing at Simmons Plains, a little bull ring, that racetrack.
Yeah, a very, very tight little racetrack, and if we do 5-minute qualifyings again, I think that's going to be an absolute lark. I'm very much looking forward to that one.
We will see you then. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye for now.
See you later.